Hey, welcome back to Diggs on Twitch. Back today with a donation deck list. This is Punishing Maverick without the Punishing Fires, which is really interesting. This list is from Lorenzo, so a huge thank you for the donation deck list and supporting the channel. This is a green, white, red Maverick list that very lightly splashes red, mainly for the main deck Clots and the sideboard Pyroblasts. We also have Fiery Justice as a sweeper or removal spell for some bigger creatures, but otherwise, this is pretty much a green-white based Maverick deck, which is cool. That also has access to blast effects and clots, which is pretty sweet. I would say the green-white probably has one of the best mana bases of any archetype within Maverick, but it does have some issues with go-wide strategies. You don't have something like Punishing Fire or Plague Engineer to keep some of those decks from going wide. So Fiery Justice is pretty nice as just a way to bring in some sort of sweeper against the deck like Elves or Goblins, or even a blue-red deck that plays Young Pyromancer. A card like Fiery Justice can be really solid. And dealing up to 5 means it can deal with Gomag, it can deal with the new Whale, and maybe another thing. It can deal with the Delver and maybe Young Pyromancer. So a lot of flexibility, which is really nice. This list is playing some grindier cards as well, which is nice. So Tireless Tracker, which I do really like. The deck's only playing the one Sylvan Library, so Tracker, another way to grind, to draw cards. You can, of course, find with the Green Suns, which is nice. And with an uptick in some of these BANT Miracle decks, it's probably the 3-drop of choice, where Ramanap isn't that great because their mana base is pretty heavy on basics compared to other decks. And then other Reliquaries are kind of in the same position where they're not doing too much against these Miracle decks. So Tracker, really nice to have. Qasali Pridemage, also nice. Obviously, Night of Autumn is pretty great, but Qasali Pridemage does have some nice benefits. It does lower the curve slightly. It gives Exalted, which is quite nice in a Stoneforge Mystic build, which means that your creatures are usually bigger than your opponents, which is kind of cool. And then you can have instant speed interactions. So Night of Autumn, great as a sorcery speed answer to something outside of something like Show and Tell. But otherwise, Qasali is really nice against a deck like Death and Taxes, where you might want to interact on your opponent's turn when they're playing their own equipment package, or something of that nature. We have a 3-3 split in Thalia and Mum as well. Mum just for added protection. We also have Scrib Ranger, which is nice. So Scrib with Mum and Knight is pretty good, and can lead to some pretty blowout starts, especially with a Hierarch or Mana Accelerant start, so that should be pretty good. Yeah, Cleo. And then we also have Skyclave Apparition, which I think is a welcoming card to Maverick. If you're playing Once Upon a Time, it's pretty nice because it is a removal spell you can now find off once, which before that wasn't really a thing with Green White Maverick. Yeah, Skyclave just a really nice out to a lot of cards. It does make the Miracles and Control matchups slightly better because we don't have to rely on combat damage to actually deal with Planeswalkers. So Skyclave there, really nice. And then anything else, like Aether Vials, other creatures. Chalice of the Void can sometimes be a little bit annoying on the draw, and Skyclave can just pick it up, which is cool. So this list should be pretty sweet. Looking forward to see how it goes. I like the sideboard as well because it's pretty clean. Surgical for Graveyard Hate, and maybe some of the Uro decks, depending on how we want to board. Choke for the blue decks. Night of Autumn in the bin. Sorry, Night of Autumn in the sideboard for another way to interact with something like an opposing Sylvan Library, or Back to Basics, or Mox Diamonds, or Equipment. Gaddock Teeg, just a really good Green Suns target right now. There is a bit of Terminus around. Jace is making a small comeback, and then against a lot of the combo decks, Gaddock Teeg is just really nice, especially in a version that you can protect Teeg with Mother of Runes. Blast Effect's really good. My only consideration would probably be to switching these up between some number of Red Elemental Blast if it's like a 2-1 split. Just because of cards like Meddling Mage, if I'm playing as Espervile, I'm probably bringing in my blasts. So having just a tweak of that means that you're less likely to get Meddling Mage out. I don't think there's any decks that you would bring it in against, like Dredge, that play Cabal Therapy, and it would matter in that way. I think Meddling Mage in a deck like... Yeah, I'm going to say Meddling Mage is the only one. Deafening Silence, really good card on as a turn 1 interactive spell against combo. And I want to Veil. I think Veil's fine. Maverick is a deck that tends to not have the mana open, but if you draw a Veil, you're usually pretty happy against the decks where Veil is relevant. Whether it's protecting yourself from a Tendrils, a creature becoming uncounterable, a Hymn to Turak blowout, an Abrupt Decay blowout. There's some cool things to happen with a Veil, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's just nice to be back playing some Punishing. We played it last stream, which you can find on my YouTube channel. I'll put that in the comments. But here, we're using play points. It's always nice to come back to play points as well. Alright. And then we'll switch. Very cool. I hope you're all well. It's been pretty wet here in Australia. Obviously, you might have seen some floods on the news. We've been pretty good up north, where it's just been light rain for about a week. But down south, they're doing it tough. So if anyone's from down there, I hope you're doing well. And yeah, can see a way out within the next couple of days. Hopefully the rain stops coming. I saw that some parts were having up to a year's worth of rain in 2 days, which is just crazy. Especially seeing that some of the places that are getting all this rain are ones that were hit by the bushfires last year. So crazy times. Rough. If you want to check out some good Maverick content as well, I believe Mental Misstep queued up with Jarvis on his latest stream playing green, white, black Maverick, which is very cool. Two extremely good players, of course, playing one of the coolest decks in the format. And no spoilers, but doing pretty well with it, which is cool. Really cool to hear some of their lines and what they think of the deck right now. And especially to see how they sideboard as well is always pretty interesting, because I think with Maverick there's a few different ways people sideboard for different matchups. Alright, on the play is always nice. And this hand's okay. We have some turn 1 acceleration to Thalia and Mum. So I probably want to fetch up a Windswept Heath so I can double spell on turn 2. I could also go turn 1 Mum into turn 2 Thalia, but I think if I draw another Green Suns as well, I want to have that Dried Arbor out already to pay for Thalia's tax. So it also just means I have better lines down the road. In case I draw into a 3-drop or it's relevant. Against a deck like Eldrazi, I definitely want to play a Knight if I can as early as possible. So I do like just going for Green Suns here. Jarvis could definitely sleeve up a ham sandwich and be in with a chance. That is 100% correct. Gilded Goose, okay. This is probably going to be some sort of snow deck. So I don't mind going for Thalia first. And then just using this to probably fetch up another Savannah. This probably isn't a deck with something like main deck back basics or any sort of dual hate, so I'm pretty happy just to get Mum on the table, which can't be countered, which is nice due to Thalia being played first. But turn 1 Gilded Goose definitely raises an eyebrow. Could be something like an Aluren deck. They didn't play AR. Plague's pretty brutal. Okay. I think I'm happy to go for Klothys. Knight doesn't do too much here, and Klothys is just a really solid 3-drop to get. Hey Julian, welcome. I hope you're well. But yeah, Gilded Goose and the Plague Engineer makes me think this is some sort of just bug mid-range. But the food has me... Yeah, I'm not too sure what Gilded Goose is in here for. Obviously the incremental life gain in the late game is pretty nice, but... There's the blue, so it looks like it's going to be bug. Another Plague, okay. probably going after Dryad here just to hit something on the field. There's actually a massive mouse plague in Australia right now. So I don't know where all these snakes are because we have mice everywhere. And it's it's not looking good. Mum. Okay. We'll eat the mum here. Hey Elo, thank you very much. That means a hell of a lot. I hope you're well. 2 months is very cool. A huge thank you. Yeah, spiders as well. There's spiders everywhere, which is pretty crazy. There's a lot of creatures coming out of the woodworks due to the recent flooding in Australia. Yeah, the mice on Reddit were pretty huge. There's a swords, which is nice. So we can take out the one on human. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have enough mana as well, so we might as well just eat Thalia here. So we can swords the one on human first. They're going to brainstorm. Okay. I like to read that as boot and not boat. Thalia first. And then we can fetch up a plateau for mum. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of creatures here in Oz. I'll definitely say that. And when it does rain, a lot of them come out to play, which isn't always the greatest thing to see. But yeah, pretty crazy at times. Australia seems like some RPG zone. Haha. Hey Julian, I liked your recent Everyday Eternal podcast speaking about Legacy and cards like Sylvan Library and consistency, and how there's a need for both consistency but also power level in Legacy. I think that's a pretty crucial element to deck building. Uro. Uro is fine because we have the clots, which is pretty interesting that they're casting it here. Definitely no blocks. Okay. Take out the Uro. Play Hierarch. Clot's doing a hell of a lot here. I mean, we're pretty much staying in the game just due to Clots, which is really nice. If you're looking for the latest Everyday Eternal, you can find it here. I'm going to say they're not on Aluren, and it's just going to be a bug control deck. Yeah, so what I am doing is I have my microphone and then my headphones, and I'm just pulling it in through my headphones. But I feel like you can hear me hearing to music instead of you hearing the music. I feel like it's secondhand, if that makes sense. And if anyone else in chat can chime in, and yeah, give me some feedback on the quality of the sound of the music, I'd love to know, because I feel that this definitely feels like it's kind of, yeah, secondhand in a way. Like you're hearing me hear it instead of just hearing the music. Green Suns, nice. Let's go for Decay. Definitely want to start off like Snapcaster Mage in the main deck if that's a thing. But then the second Green Suns is interesting. I actually like Questing Beast here, just to really put a clock on. Questing Beast with Mum is also quite nice, and it can't be blocked by anything. A fetch probably just means hardcast Force, but not too much we can do about that anyway. Okay. And at least I guess the small thing is that it's extra bait for the clots. I am not using voice meter, no. I might have to check that out. I'm gonna block the plague here. It is a free attack for them. Just to save on some damage. And decay's fine. Oof. Doesn't do a whole lot. I guess it does stop food tokens, which is kind of nice. Because the Gilded Goose just by itself kind of beats the clothes. There's not too much we can do about that. Yeah, that's definitely Maverick at some points, unfortunately. Things like Show and Tell Omniscience. I'm probably not blocking with the Hierarch here, so I'm pretty happy just to attack. Interesting. Using my desktop audio. Uro's pretty good. Uro's going to be a tough one to beat because we don't have obviously nothing in hand. We have to naturally draw Swords to Plowshares. Caracas doesn't really do it either. And they also get to exile a bunch of stuff that Clots could have hit, so pretty nice for them. So if I take 4 here, I go to 11. I think that's okay. I don't think I'm in a position where I have to block with the Collector Oof yet. Sylvan Library's nice. But this Uro is going to be really tough. It's tough as well because I kind of have to block the Uro this time with the Collector Oof if I do want to make use of the Sylvan Library. I guess I could block with the Noble Hierarch and then keep the Collector Oof around. And this way I get to draw an extra card if I really need to off the Clots. Yeah, Caracas is nice as well. It's just tough because then they're drawing a card each turn, they're gaining life, and Leovold's a perfect draw for the library as well, so... Don't know if we have a out here. Can definitely try. This is actually a tough one. So the Leo is currently turning off the library, which I could deal with. I get to draw a card off it. If I deal with the Uro, it turns on other Uros and turns off Caracas in some way. If they have double removal, they can just kill us. I think I just like turning off the Leovold, because at least Sylvan Library digging 3 cards might be my chance to find the extra card I need to deal with the Uro. Which isn't great, but I feel like I have more outs to the Uro. We have some pretty good cards post-board though. We have Veil, Blasts, Fiery Justice, Choke. I don't want to bring in too much non-creature hate though. I don't want to dilute my deck of threats. I think we just have to block here, take the 4, and just keep the food offline as long as possible. But yeah, the opening Mum into Thalia and then the Plague Engineer was really tough. Another Leo. Okay. Well. Can at least try to see a little bit more of the deck before we concede. But yeah, it just looks like a BANT control deck. I do want extra removal. The swords are pretty good for the Uros. I probably don't want the Thalias. These games are going to go long. My opponent's definitely going to make land drops, especially seeing they're playing up to 7 basics, which is pretty huge. Oof, although it turns off Gilded Goose is probably coming out. I don't think I need the Gaddock Teeg. So I think it's just more removal. So I like these. I like these. I like these. I don't like the Thalias. I don't like the Oof. The Stoneforge Mystic package isn't too bad, but I could see myself even dropping the Stoneforges and keeping the equipment. I think I'm pretty happy dropping a Wasteland in this matchup. Probably don't want all of these. I don't mind something like this. Mum's also pretty rough because of Plague Engineer, but I can't do too much about that. In the matchups where they don't have the Plague, it's obviously really good, but I could see myself also just dropping down and getting a Mystic in the deck, so I do have a way to tutor for equipment if really needed. Surgical's interesting as well to take care of Leovold, but I don't think I really want to go down a card. Kind of 2-for-1 myself, because they get to draw a card as well off the Uro. And I still like these bears. I still don't mind the knights. The Klotz is really relevant. The track is relevant. I think this is okay. Yeah, I could definitely see myself going down on a Dork, especially in the face of Plague Engineer, but I do like the ability to have one in my opening hand so that I can hopefully play a 3-drop on turn 2. We didn't see Wasteland either, which is kind of nice. Kind of hope they like ponder on turn 1. Nothing. Okay. Pretty happy for land. Attack with Dryad and hold up Pyroblast, and then maybe next turn we can play Choke, hold up Pyroblast. Pyroblast makes the hand interesting because it makes me want to play a little bit behind curve, but the Dryad Arbor allows me to play a little bit in front. I don't want to be too aggressive as well with this Pyroblast yet. I really want this Choke to stick, so if they play something like a Tropical Island, I'd be pretty happy. Bird. Could also play Bird into Cradle, which is nice. Bird, Cradle, Questing Beast. Yeah. I guess the Cradle makes the Bird free. And then keeping them off the snow-covered island's interesting. The issue is they can just go land and then into Abrupt Decay. They're going to force it, so that's a pretty big win. Let's get a... They're just gonna concede? What? So I wonder if they thought... So they actually didn't... They should have seen, because they don't know if we had Veil of Summer or if we had Pyroblast. And I think there's a difference. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think getting the information of knowing that I play Pyroblast or Red Elemental Blast over something like Veil of Summer is pretty good, because then you know that, like, you know, if you should be worried about maybe 1 mana up when you have Abrupt Decay or something. Yeah, I'm assuming they thought it was Veil as well. I don't mind going down on a Noble and back up on a Pyroblast on the draw. Interesting opponent. This is a 1-lander with double equipment and a lot of removal. I think this is a little bit too reactive. In this matchup, I just want to make my land drops, and this hand doesn't really achieve that. And if I go land into Noble and they go like turn 1 Goose into Plague Engineer, I'm pretty boned, so I'm going to mulligan this. I think we have enough answers to the Uro in Blast, Swords, and Scavenging Ooze. So I don't want to go down on those cards. Go down on card advantage for the sake of dealing with Uro, but I definitely could. I think if I didn't see the Leos and they were heavily relying on the Uros to actually get damage through, then I would consider it, perhaps. A little bit more like the Oko meta, where Uros were kind of like the main threat. A little bit risky with this hand. There's no white mana currently, but I think we'll be okay. Worst case, next turn, it's a turn to Sylvan Library, which is kind of cool. Hey, Forcer Williams, welcome. Hope you're well. Knight would have been interesting there as well, but I kind of like 2-spell. Hope you're well, Luke. How's things in WA? I know that our Highland is going off, which is very cool. Have you got your eyes on any Time Spiral Remastered Old Borders? Let's cast Choke next turn. We're going to draw Choke. I feel like this is either Leovold or Abrupt Decay on Sylvan Library. Looks like Leovold. Okay, that's fine. Got a Highland event on Sunday. Very cool. Alright, so upkeep, thankfully, we get to deal with Leo. They're going to force it. Okay. Skyclave. I don't mind just building out my mana here. Especially to get double white for the Skyclave. Hey, Luca Boring. A huge thank you for the sub. That means a hell of a lot. I'm eating a bird to not put the Hierarch into Plague Engineer range because the mum's already there. So we'll go for bird. If they ever print Brother of Runes, be able to give protection to your spells. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Hey, Saito, welcome. I hope you're well. We're doing okay. We're in game 1. Sorry, we're in match 1, game 3, up against what looks to be Bug Control. Grandmother of Runes gifts you sweets, which you can sack for life. They are playing Aluren. Interesting. Huh. I don't want to cast the Skyclave just yet. So I'm going to cast the Knight. And then untap. I think here I'm happy to float a... Oh, no. I can't draw a card because of Leo. So I think here we just pass with Skyclave open. Sadly, Caracas doesn't do anything here, which would be kind of cool. But of course, Leovold they can just cast anyway. Okay. So the question is, do I want to play around Force of Will? Because I can Wasteland them to take them off hard casting Force of Will, but that does draw them a card with the Leovold. So I think here I just want to Green Suns for Qasali Pride Mage, because we don't have Night of Autumn. Which also means I can attack. Now there's definitely a weird stalemate. I think Wasteland myself is definitely something down the line that I want to do. Especially if it gets me to a position where I can put lethal on the board. Decay Knight. Pretty happy to get protection here. They're down to 2 cards, so I kind of just want to trade with the Aluren. They're going to double Decay. They have 1 card left. I kind of want to cast Skyclave free and then take out the Aluren in response. Yeah, I think we cast the Aluren. I'll cast the Skyclave. And hit Leo. And in response to the draw, now I want to hit the Aluren. So they can't draw into a creature and cast it for free. Yeah, this is a pretty sweet stack. I guess there is still blue in the stack, which is rough, but it looks like Aluren's going, which is nice. Oh, they got Cavern. Okay. Rough. Now they get to recast. They have 1 card left. Plague. Can't do anything here. That's just going to respond. That's just going to happen. They named Dryad, which is interesting. Oh, they get to just keep plaguing stuff? That's cute. I'm not too unhappy with my line. I mean, if they have Cavern Harpy Plague, they have Cavern Harpy Plague. But yeah, tough, because now we're left with really nothing. Yeah, they only had 1 card, that's true. It's not the worst. Force of Vigor, hardcast. Yikes. That's pretty big. Yeah, very cool to see Aluren online. Not a deck I see too much in paper, unfortunately. I think it's a deck that's really, really cool. Just takes a bit of time, unfortunately. Cauldron is interesting. Pretty close to a combo. Nice. Not too much we can do there. The Leovold in both games was really strong. Especially turning off our only real way to keep up with the card advantage that Aluren can achieve. Yeah, Aluren's still pretty low for what it is. It is it's a namesake of a legacy deck that might not be in the best position, but I feel like when people don't respect Aluren, Aluren does really well. I think for a while it was a little bit lower. I think I picked up my playset for like $20. Since long gone since then, but yeah, I think I probably got the playset for $80, so it has jumped. I will say that. $30 at the beginning of 2020. Nuts. Yeah, Aluren a pretty interesting combo. One that isn't too MTGO friendly, I believe. Probably a little bit better than Food Chain. But otherwise, not too bad. I don't like 5 landers. The Wasteland, in some ways, is a spell, and the Wooded Foothills could be a Dried Arbor. But I think on the play, I want something a little bit better. This is it. Keep this. I think I rather the Knight than the Tireless Tracker here. Just because Wasteland is such a good card, and Karakas could also be something that I want to get online. I do not have a dog. I am a huge fan of dogs, but I sadly don't have a pupper. But Dogs on Twitch is coming. Dogs on Twitch one day will be alive. Hey Lorenz, a huge thank you. Yeah, very cool for the donation deck list. I'm a big fan of Punishing Mav. Or green, white, red Maverick. Thought TC cutting off the Knight, which is strong. This is probably a Pox style deck, which is pretty interesting. I don't mind playing the Cradle if it is Pox, because it's probably the land that I care about the least, because my opponent is probably on a strategy that's going to keep me off creatures for a long time, so we do get 1 damage in here, which is nice. It could also be something like Adnors, but Double Swamp definitely makes me think this is going to be something else. If it is Smallpox or a sack effect, I probably want to sack the Noble Hierarch, because at least Birds taps for red in case I draw into Cloths. Clothis? I always get the name wrong, I apologize. But yeah, Lorenzo, hope you're well. Hope you're having a nice week. Sinkhole! And they take out the Cradle, so that's not too bad. Tracker, perfect. That's exactly what we want in this matchup. Boom. Nice. 3 mana. Lily, that's fine. We're going to tick up here. Make a sack, okay. I think I take out the Hierarch because Exalted here isn't the biggest concern. And again, Bird just taps for red. Also, if they're playing Plague Engineer, they're probably going to name Human, so I might as well get rid of the Noble here. Alright. Trigger. Let's attack Lily. And then, I don't think I want to draw a card here, but it's interesting. I do have a fair amount of like 2-drops, and something like Thalia could be relevant. It doesn't really matter in this case because I am targeting the Lily, so I can still talk about it in my second main phase. I think if I do draw, I tap like this, and then hold up Caracas if there's a need to, and hold up the Savannah. Hiya! Clots, okay. Well, it's a pretty good card. I get to end step Crack a Clue as well, which is kind of nice. Liliana. Okay. We already have the mana for Clothes, so I don't mind just getting rid of the bird here. Now we get to sack this clue. Draw a card. Okay. Interesting. Knight. I think Clothes is just the best card here. There's also a thought that I don't need to get rid of the Lily, but I think I kind of do. Just in case they tick up and then get rid of the Tireless Tracker and I lose any way to get rid of it. As much as I'd love to go to face. It's interesting though, because taking 5 to the face puts them at 12, and then Cloth is a 6-turn clock. I like taking Lily off the table. Yeah, go face is definitely what I want to do, but a part of me just wants me to get that Lily off the table. Yeah, explore the line. I know, that's, yeah. Terrible streamer. Terrible streamer. Factory, okay. Interesting. Alright. Oh, Beast! Oh, yes! So good! Let's take out Windswept Heath and make a green. Nice. They have 2 cards left. 3 cards now. Pox. I probably want the Knight, the Veil, and that's really it. I don't need the Oof. Tracker's great. Ramanap's great. Clots is fine. It's probably like a Knight, to be fair, just to lower my curve a little bit and just trade a Knight for a Knight here. Justice is also interesting because I can hit Planeswalkers, which is nice. I could see a Swords also just coming out. Teeg's interesting because I'm assuming this Pox player is going to be playing. We know about the 4-mana Liliana. We don't know about like the Abyss. That's definitely a card that can be pretty strong. I think it's nice to have in the deck at least. This is actually 62. I have to drop 1 more card. It might just be the extra sword, to be fair. But in saying that, cards like Opposition Agent or Plague Engineer would be pretty big blowouts, so I do want to have some answers for them. It might just be 1 Fiery Justice. Don't really need to. Kidda! Hey, welcome. I hope you're well. Gonna mulligan this. Very open to Thoughtseize or Inquisition as well. This is a pretty nice hand, I'll keep this. I'm pretty happy to bottom the Wasteland here. Wasteland not the greatest in this matchup, and this hand just allows me to cast a lot of stuff, which is kind of cool. Just a pass from my opponent. Let's just go for a Savannah into Noble. Smallpox here would be pretty strong. But if I get to untap and play the Thalia, I'd be very happy. Wow. 2 mana pass. I'm pretty happy to go for Thalia and then hold up Caracas. Fatal push that. Pretty happy just to return. Mismatched pair. Yeah, the basics being mismatched is definitely interesting. Ooh, Wasteland. But they're not going to cast it. They're going to go for Liliana. That's a pretty good card. Yep. Okay. Well. Probably just want to go for second Savannah here and play the Knight as a big creature. It's really our only play, to be fair. The Thalia gets hit by Thalia. Sorry, the Thalia gets hit by Liliana. Any Green Sun's target gets hit by Liliana. The Stoneforge doesn't do too much here. So I think it's just a hope and pray that for some reason they don't have a removal spell for the Knight. But I feel like they do. Let's be honest here. I feel like they have an answer for the Knight here. They make it a 2/3. Okay, that's fine. At least if the Knight survives, I then also get to keep it from being sacked. Thanks to... Ooh, does this kill it? No. What do we want to discard? I think it's just the Jide. Thalia is actually also pretty terrible here. Because of the Liliana. I don't mind even getting Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, I think it is Thalia. Noble. Yeah, I don't mind Green Suns for Ooze, and then just hold up Knight. Because Ooze also interacts well with Liliana's minus. But a pretty interesting one. See what they do first. Second land. Okay. We don't have BUG. 3 mana. Plague. That's fine. Human. Dark Confidant. That's fine. Tick up on Knight. Okay. What are they going to do with other Liliana? Tick up. Okay. I think he would just get rid of the Stoneforge Mystic. Noble's also interesting though. Noble doesn't do a whole lot next turn anyway. And at least the Stoneforge puts me up a card. Yeah, I was trying to think if the Exalted means anything, but I don't believe it does. So let's go for Cradle. And then I probably just want to take out these 2 lands to make the Liliana worse. because the counters don't matter if I'm going to be attacking Liliana anyway, because the Jide is going to deal with creatures, so... Green Suns? Green Suns would be sweet. Land. Okay. Not the worst. I want to keep this for... I guess I don't have to keep it for Dryad because we already have the Knight. So if I don't play the Stoneforge Mystic, then I have to discard it to the Liliana. Unless I find a line where I draw a card with Canopy and then choose what I discard. So I might as well just play the Stoneforge Mystic and get sort of Fire and Ice, which I can just discard. At least the Stoneforge Mystic means it's a card that I can just sacrifice to a sack effect, like a Innocent Blood or a Smallpox. So I think that's where it has benefit. And I can fetch here because I can still keep up the Knight for something. I will just go for a red source. Equip here. And then attack the Liliana. This one. Does this have a ulti? That's not the worst. At least this means I get to deal with the Dark Confidant. Or the Plague. No blocks would be fantastic. They're not going to block. Interesting. Okay. I could buff it, but I think this is okay. No, I'm definitely killing this. And then probably just passing with the counter on it. Just a land. That's fine. So next turn I can equip the Stoneforge with the Jide in attack to give myself a creature to attack with that I don't really care about if it gets taken out by the Plague Engineer. The other Lily's ulti is you get an emblem with at the beginning of your combat on your turn, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, it gains haste. Tick up on the Knight, that's fine. Okay. The big question is, do I want to use the Knight here? And I think I'm happy just to let it slide. I actually might as well just get a fetch land. Yeah, we do get to ignore the Liliana a little bit thanks to that. I'm going to fetch and draw a card, because drawing a Swords to Plowshares here is pretty huge if possible. And if not, I can move the creature around. Big gamble, but Thalia. Attack with the walker. Interesting to see how they block, because if they don't block the Stoneforge, I probably want to pump it just to deal more damage to the Lily. Yeah. What do they draw? One black. Oh. Cling to dust. Hit the cradle. Okay. They're going to get back the Plague Engineer, perhaps? Doesn't really matter because we have the Jide. Still have one card. Hmm. One, two, three, four, five, six. So I can't even save this, so that happens. What do we draw? Swords. Okay. That's interesting. I probably just want to use the swords here to deal with the last two. I think the Jide counters just have more value than the swords in hand does. And then it's probably the Liliana that I care about. Yeah, I feel it's this one that I care about. Rough. It's pretty good. Cloths. Yeah, really brutal. I do have some pretty good draws. We have a pretty low curve, so I can just draw lands. Ah, flashback cling. Nice. Hey Jide, thanks for the Prime sub. Very much appreciated. Let me know how you're going. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? I feel like I've seen your name around, so a huge thank you. Yikes. I definitely want to see more of that deck, so I don't mind just playing on here. Because if I do see something like an Abyss, then it's good to know about. This is game 2. Maybe if I draw something like Veil, then I will concede to not show it, but Liliana's okay. That's probably my concession. I think the sword can come out just for another night. Just having the threats is really huge. I think that's the only way that I want to sideboard here. Pretty happy with the rest. That's pretty good, I'll keep this. Turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Script Ranger, into Stoneforge Mystic. It allows me to put 2 creatures onto the field on turn 2, which is nice. Opponent down to 6 cards. Thoughtseize is fine. Probably taking either the Tracker or the Stoneforge Mystic. I'm going to assume the Tracker. But you never know. If they take Stoneforge, we can still play Tracker and Scrib Ranger next turn if we draw Cradle, which is kind of nice. They take Tracker, cool. Scrib. Untap this, return this. Stoneforge. Probably just Jide, because yeah, I guess it's the only target. But at least this also saves us from Sinkhole, which is kind of nice. Scrib Ranger having a lot of effect in this matchup. Another Thoughtseize. That is fine. Can't do much about that. Guess we could draw like Green Suns or Questing Beast to get out of this. Might as well attack with 2 creatures instead of attacking with 1 with Exalted in case they have like Fatal Push. Just means that at least 1 damage gets through. Last Hope would be brutal here because we don't really have a great way to attack with creatures. Him is fine. You should be able to find the deck list using here. You'll be able to see it on the screen as well. It's over near my life total, I believe. Probably shouldn't have fetched there in case we draw into Clothis, but I did want to get the extra Dried Armor into play just to keep damage going through. Another Noble, okay. Pretty happy just to empty my hand here. Can't do anything here, so that's fine. Interesting that they care about it. Alright. Let's attack Lily, attack them. Still playing Legacy Lands? Very cool. Thank you, the most positive regular streamer. This makes me very cool. A huge thank you. That means a lot. Haha. Nice. Lands is a sweet deck. You just dislike the music? Yeah, that's fair enough. That's, you know, music's very subjective, so I understand that. I was even thinking of doing a, you can do a two-part audio stream where if you upload something, you can have like music on a different channel, which is kind of cool. Pretty happy to just lose a Noble here. Alright. Come on, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Still pretty good, still pretty good. I can't be too unhappy about that. Pretty hard for my opponent to deal with Sylvan Library once it's on the table, which is nice. What is the best deck, Grixis, Control, or Miracles? That's pretty tough. I think it definitely depends on the pilot. A very good Miracles player is always going to beat a mediocre Grixis Control player, and vice versa, I think. But yeah, best is a tough one. Both seem pretty good. Jeez, chat. Chat being too kind sometimes. Too kind. Triumph. Okay. I think the Stoneforge has done its duties. And now we can just attack with Exalted with the Dried Arbor anyway. How dare they? How dare they take me off threats? Yeah, there are a lot better streamers than me. I'll definitely say that. Oh, there it is. There it is. Actually, let's just pay. Let's just get this life going. Here we go. Here we go. Can I get some questing beasts in chat? Can I get a raw questing beast? Ooh, there we go. Oof. Nice. Yes. Just feels good. Nice. There we go. Baleful Strix? How dare you? How dare you, Courts? They're on 4. You got 2 cards. You can't make me sack. Nice. Beast gets there. The other option was going for Clothis, which is a little bit safer and still closes out the game, but I think Questing Beast just dealing in 2 turns is too good, especially when I do have out fodder that I can sack to a sack effect. So all in all, pretty happy. Pretty happy. GG. Can't stop the beast. Yeah, the beast is one that is hard to stop. I will definitely say that. I just did a really cool, like... I had my water bottle over here, and I did a cool, like, swoop. That was pretty cool. Just, like, swoop. But... you guys didn't see it, so... Stay hydrated. Black Lotus. Black Lotus. No. Don't think it is. Skull, skull, skull. Alright, here we go. Back in it. I'm gonna play again, which is nice, up against M-Boy. Yikes, just another one of these hands. We will mulligan this. There's probably a better 5, but this hand does have a bit of everything, which is nice. A lot of graveyard hate, a lot of protection. The Dried Arbor is just a little bit rough. How many cameras do you have filming at all times? I have 2. I have one above me and then one directly in front of me. We are in Australia, and thankfully not. Thankfully, yeah, in a pretty dry spot. Well, not dry. It's been wet for the last week, just non-stop rain, but definitely not in a bad position, which is nice. It's the people down south who have to do it. I am gonna mulligan this. I don't think this hand has a plan. I think there is a good 5 with a plan. This isn't it, but I'm gonna drop the Wasteland. The Ramanap's nice. I think it's the Kusali Pride Mage here. And hope it's a combo deck that thinks we're just on death and taxes with how this hand might start out. Yeah, there's definitely spots around me locally that did have some flash flooding, unfortunately. But thankfully, yeah, I'm in a dry spot. But yeah, down south it's really bad. I feel bad for the people who put up with bushfires last year and then found out that they have a flooded backyard this year. Just pretty crazy how the climate can change. It is going to be Merfolk. Interesting. This is going to be a tough one. Okay. I am going to fetch here. I'm just going to get a forest and play Ooze. And seeing they're on Merfolk, I'm actually going to attack here with the Noble. Java said something really interesting. Mother attacking is dealing with 5% of your opponent's life total if they're on 20, which makes it sound like a lot more than it is, but it's I guess it's correct. So if you can ever find a spot where you can attack with the mum, definitely do it. Oh, if we could draw Green Suns for Collector Oof here, that'd be pretty sweet. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. What do you got? Oh, they're gonna force it? Okay. I think just attacking with the screws is fine, and keeping the mum back. I might need the mum for something like... yeah, protection down the line. I'm going to assume my opponent is running something like Merfolk Trickster. I'm going to put this in. They could just have Thassa's Oracle, to be fair. It's going to be Silvergill, okay. Obviously digging here as well, which is kind of nice for us. Maybe they want to try to find a Lord to cast. Chalice for 1. Okay. That's fine as well. Green Suns. Tracker. Okay. I think this turn we go Wooded Foothills off the Ramen Up, and then next turn Tracker. So let's attack first. Which era of Legacy are we in now? This is the best era of Legacy that I have personally played. Maybe a few years ago it was really good. There's a really good game of Maverick versus Rug Delver on YouTube, which is Tom Herzog versus Ben Weinstein, which is one of my favorite games of Legacy on camera that you should definitely check out. Nice. Yeah, it's certainly one of the better ones. Julian, I'm going to say like early 2010s to 2013 is when you really enjoyed Legacy. Yeah, that's fair, Star Fox. That's fair. I'm just so happy that it's not the usual suspects that are in the format right now. It's nice to have a little bit of change. Merfolk's definitely got harder if they're playing Thassa's Oracle, but this looks like it's going to be the more beatdown version. So there is a version that plays, I think it's Paradigm Shift. I think that's the card that exiles your library and makes your graveyard your library, and then you play Thassa's Oracle. I could definitely be saying that incorrectly, but it's something like that. Oh, Stoneforge. Stoneforge is a great card here because Sword of Fire and Ice is really strong. But I think I like going for Tracker first. Fetch. They're going to stifle this? No. Okay. Savannah. Trigger. Get back a land. Trigger. Nice. Still no great attacks. The Mutavault's also a little bit interesting, especially if they have a Lord in hand. We do get to cast the Stoneforge, which is pretty cool. So I will do that. Probably get the Plateau. I don't really want to show that we're on red yet. I want to try to play this game as though we're on green-white. Someone's going to get the other forest. Yeah, Ramen Up and Tracker is really nice, especially with Mum as well, to kind of keep them at bay. But if we get our Sword of Fire and Ice here, we're looking pretty strong, because that also deals with the True Name issue. And the Wasteland deals with the Mutavault, so they don't have any good blockers either. I could attack here and see if they have like a Lord, but if they, you know, activate the Mutavault and then block, I don't have a great way to do anything, so I'm just going to pass. I don't want to attack with the Ramen App and then they put in a Lord and then block with a Mutavault that's colorless that I can't get protection to. Brazen Burrower. Okay. Looks like they're going full beatdown. Maybe they have Phantasmal Image. Master. Okay. That's fine. They have one card. Oh, they have 2 after the draw step. Okay. Script Range are really good in this matchup. And Script Range is really strong because it's not just pro-blue. It also deals with Phantasmal Image if they're playing it, because Script Ranger is untapped target creature. They're going to attack with these. Okay. So we do get a block here. They have 1 card left. Obviously another Lord is tough. So currently we're taking 12, putting us to 5. So I think I like just putting Ramanap in front of a Silvergill. I could also put Tireless Tracker in front of a Silvergill in case they have another Lord, which means that the Tireless Tracker would still kill the Silvergill, but the Ramanap or Scavenging Ooze wouldn't. And we also have the Mutavault covered in Wasteland, so I think Tracker is fine. They're going to put in something. I don't think I have to respond here. Even if it's something like Merfolk Trickster, I'm happy to let this resolve. There's the other Lords. That's exactly why we blocked with the Tireless Tracker as a 3-power creature. We go to 6. Okay. But now we have some pretty good draws. Script Ranger would be the best. Knight's interesting. I guess we can draw a card first, because then we still have 5 mana to get through. This is actually really interesting, because the Skoos is also going to be really big here. I could even see a world where we play the Wooded Foothills and then just hold up Dried Arbor to actually Wasteland ourselves. Because we could do something like block with Dried Arbor, Wasteland it, eat with Skoos, eat with Skoos. Skoos is now a 4/4, which is pretty good. So I kind of feel like the turn should be hold up Wasteland. You also get another clue here. Let's take 1 draw. Now we have 4 mana open. I guess the Caracas isn't really a land that I want. I'd probably rather have the Forest up because it is a green source for the ooze. So let's crack 1 clue. Stoneforge. Okay. That represents a Jitte, which is pretty nice. Next turn, if they attack with everything, we have some pretty good blocks anyway, so I don't think I have to really take into consideration lethal. Other than 3 in the air, but we have the Silvergill to gain life. So I think here I'm happy just passing with Wasteland up. I don't think I have to play the Knight. Okay, I think I have to work out if I can attack with the Tireless Tracker here, because that's pretty huge. That puts them down to 10, and then it might even be lethal next turn if we can swing back with Sword, because it would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're probably cracking another clue, which is 9, and then another one is 10. So I think I do want to attack with the Tireless Tracker here. I guess I can kill the Brazen Borrower here if I put in the sword. Yeah, Bihar, that's very true. And then we have back some amount of creatures to block with. It's also a 2-turn clock with the sword. Yeah, I think I should have definitely taken that into consideration before cracking the clue. Yeah, because if we kill the Brazen Borrower here, they then can attack with 4 creatures, but we have 3 blockers. Yeah, I think drawing with the clue was definitely incorrect, and even keeping up the re-equip was pretty big. Yeah. Giz, that's a really good point. And what I also should have taken into consideration that Swords to Plowshares was not an out because of the Chalice. Hey, Lynn Chalice. Speaking of Chalice, I hope you're well. My only consideration is some way that they can turn their Island Walk on, like a Spreading Sea kind of effect. Nice, okay. So pretty lucky. But yeah, I think the best play there was just to not crack the clue, keep up this 2 mana, attack in, kill the Burrower, put them on a 1-turn clock, and then also re-equip to a creature. Most likely the Ramanap, because then it's a 4/5, which is a little bit harder to beat. I probably want some amount of these cards. Can this deck support a Queen Marchesa? Can you find it with Green Suns? No. But I'm sure there is a world where you could play Queen in some sort of 4-color loam deck, which would be pretty sweet. I don't think I want Clots in this matchup. Probably don't want both chokes either. I do like the Mums. The Mana Accelerants are really nice. The Stoneforges are fine. Collector Oof is good against the Vial. Library is interesting. Yeah, I don't want to board too heavily, but I do like all of these, which is a little bit tough. I think the matchup is pretty good already. Like, maybe there's no need for the Fiery Justices if we have the extra Pyroblasts. Yeah, Choke isn't the best. I do like the 1 if we can attack Choke in a way with, like, Collector Oof. Sorry, attack Vial with, like, Oof, Pride Mage, or Knight. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just, you know, I think the matchup is probably favored. So I do like just a slight tweak of taking out the bad cards and bringing in cards that are just better. Fiery Justice is a bit spicy. This hand doesn't have removal, but I think I'm okay with it. It has some pretty big creatures, which is nice. Chalice would be pretty tough against this hand, but I think I'm okay with Chalice because we get to get down the bird before they have Chalice out, which is nice. And the only way that I can hedge against the Chalice is really bringing in the Knight of Autumn. Hierarch. Okay. I'm just going to go for a Forest here and play the bird because it gives me access to Elemental Blast if I need it next turn. Thankfully, no turn 1 from them. Unswept Heath. I think I just like the Knight here. The Tireless Track is also pretty interesting, but the Knight as a 4/4 keeps the Silvergill from attacking. And I'm not in a position where I really need the cards. Knight also really good down. If I can go Knight into Tracker, Knight's activation only gets better. Let's just go for Savannah into Knight. I guess Submerge is a real card that I have to think about, but it looks like my opponent just has nothing. I mean, even True Name here is fine because we have the Questing Beast. Wasteland, okay. I am just going to cast the Beast. And attack with both and see how they block. Please block with True Name. Surely they've seen this card already. Yeah, no blocks. Nice. Oh, they have Paradigm Shift and Thassa's Oracle. Rough. So this is the combo that makes the matchup very tough. It changes it 100%. But there's nothing that I can really do to slow it. Maybe the chokes? Yeah, Merfolk started playing it a little while ago, especially with Oracle, which can be pretty tough. I'm going to go down on 1 Knight, just because we already have a pretty high amount of 3-drop beaters, especially bringing in the Knight of Autumn as well. And I'm going to bottom the... Maybe we can eat all the Oracles? Yeah. This is actually pretty interesting. It might just be a Stoneforge. I do like that we can fetch for the equipment, but I think we have a pretty good matchup anyway. This is sweet. Turn 1 Choke. So this is actually quite nice, because if they start on Aether Vial, we have turn 1 Dried Arbor into turn 2 Collected Oath. And if they go Island Pass, we have turn 1 Dried Arbor into turn 2 Choke, into turn 3 Threat. So this seems pretty nice. I'm going to get a Taiga here to turn on the Pyroblast. And then Green Suns. And just hope this is okay. Oh, is this an... Oh, it's not a... it's not an island. Oh, but Wasteland's pretty good. Okay. Definitely don't mind that. Interesting. Ooze. I don't mind just playing Ooze here, and then playing Choke next turn with Pyroblast up. Or holding up Pyroblast now if I need it. But if I can get this island tapped, or the next one tapped, I'd be very happy. Oof. Oh, yes, please. Spreading Seas. That is Pyroblastable? Is it? I think it is, because then I can't hold up Pyroblast next turn anyway, so. But I should probably... Is there a reason to not counter it and just let it resolve and then Pyroblast it? Ah, don't let them draw? Yeah, that's a good one, of course. Thank you very much, chat. Nice, yeah. Alright. Here it is. Swords. Cradle. We pray. Ah! Feels good. Feels good. Oh, and this land is also a creature, so I get to eat it. Nice. Nice. Very cool. Opponent does still have 7 cards in hand, so like Mutavault or Island into Vial is a place to start. Okay. Well, Choke does choke things. Nice. The Choke was quite nice, yeah. Hey, Zoyo. What have we played so far? We have played against Bug Control, which is pretty tough. Plague Engineer, Leovold, and it actually turned out to be Aluren, which we saw in Game 3. In Match 2, we played against Mono Black Pox, which was pretty good. Game 2, we went down to double Lianas, but Game 3 just got a little bit ahead with creatures, and they couldn't really leverage their sack effects. And then we just played against Merfolk, which Game 1 we got there in combat damage. Game 2 we lost to the Oracle Shift combo. And then Game 3, as you just saw, Choke was pretty good. Saburo. 1 lander with Hierarch and Green Suns. I'm going to keep this, especially on the draw. I think it's just got a little bit too much gas for it to be thrown back. Probably just going for a Savannah into Noble Hierarch. Delver. Okay. Yeah, so it looked like a Bug Control deck in Games 1 and 2, and then Aluren got us in Game 3, which is pretty tough. I'd love to see a fetch land or another land. I think I unfortunately just have to go for basic here. I think going for Savannah is a little bit greedy. Yeah, Oracle and Shift is cool. Especially if it brings Merfolk back. I'm more than happy to see that. Brainstorm. Opponent most likely looking for a Bolt for this Noble Hierarch because then Days just gets so much better. Oh, Underground Sea. Okay. Fatal Push or Thoughtseize would still be pretty bad. Yeah. I probably still just want to fire off this Swords to Plowshares. Oh, sorry, this Green Suns next turn. Unless we draw into a land here. Yikes. Definitely means they have some sort of removal, I assume. And maybe keeping the Days for another spell. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Arnie. All the best grocery shopping. Is that real, Julian? I'm gonna have to Google this. No. Okay. You got me. Okay, yeah, I'd love to see it. Hiya! Ah, so close. This is where one landers can really hurt. I thought that on the draw, having a Noble and a Dryad Arbor would be okay, but against Delver, it's definitely pretty risky and a great way to lose the game, unfortunately. Interesting. Alright. Haha! I guess I should play it. Yeah, there's definitely no reason to 5 here, because I will have to discard. Haha! Star Fox I have not. I have not. Light up the stage. Interesting. Did not expect light up the stage. This deck needs more Quasali Ambusher. I guess this is tough because it just puts me into Bolt and insect range, so yeah. Just a bit unfortunate with the mana, but I kept that hand, so that's a good reason not to keep one landers. I probably just want some amount of these. I'm not a big fan of the tracker against these decks. The Collector Oof is obviously coming out. I could see a Hierarch coming down, but Hierarch on the play is pretty nice to play around Days early on. I don't mind if they have something like a Plague Engineer. If they have that, they have that. Cradle, I definitely don't mind taking out. This deck's going to keep me to 1 or 2 creatures a turn, so that's okay. I could see the Stoneforgers coming out and the Judean Sword just being in the deck. Skyclaves are fine, Ramanap's great, Clots and Knight is fine. Yeah, Light Up the Stage is a very interesting one. Screws is fine, Sylvan Library is okay, but I don't think I can be too aggressive with it either. It could just be Questing Beast, but Beast can really pressure them outside of them having a Gurmag. It might be Beast, unfortunately. Hey JR, welcome. I'm going to see how this slides. Would love to play first. And this hand is pretty reactive. But I think okay. It's actually really reactive. I could shave a knight. I think just a turn 2 knight is just so good, especially against a deck that's most likely playing basics. I think I just want to go down to maybe a 6 that has a better turn 2 play. Because if they do like a turn 1 ponder, we don't really have a follow-up. This is okay. I'll keep this. Disco Asylum. Interesting. I am not sure. I don't know what Disco Asylum is. I think it might just be a knight, because I can... Green Suns for... Green Suns for Dried Arbor. Turn 2 knight. Or Skyclave. It's probably the extra land. It's a good game. Okay. Yeah, Tracker's actually been pretty impressive. It was great against Pox. It was good against Merfolk. Yeah, really nice. Opponent kept 7. Maverick vs. Lands is a sweet matchup. I do have some pretty cool content coming out with Maverick vs. Lands with a few people, which is cool. I could jam the Knight here as a 4/4, which is nice. It doesn't really play around Days, but I don't really just want to be afraid of Days. I'd rather, if I can get the Knight down as a 4/4, I can get the Knight down as a 4/4. I will get red mana. I mean, Fatal Push is definitely the big consideration here. Such a good removal spell for Knight. Yeah. Sprite Dragon. Okay. I guess I didn't get a second white source, which is tough. So I think here I'm happy to go for Green Suns for Scrib Ranger. Alright. Grixis is definitely tough. A lot of really good threats. And a lot of really good removal. Bolt and Fatal Push, hardly ever not relevant against Maverick. Probably just digging for ways to protect the Sprite Dragon to make it a 3-turn clock. Days and Pond are pretty good. Thalia. Yeah. Thalia first and then Noble. I don't think you care about this. I think you'd rather keep a removal spell for, or a counter spell for removal, but maybe not. Interesting. They're going to daze it to get a trigger. I guess it's pretty much white source or bust off the top. Maybe it comes back to the Teeg should have been a plateau, but I did want extra green sources. What does the Ponder do? Chose not to shuffle. Wasteland. Yeah, that's just going to be game. I guess we could draw Pyroblast. That's our only out. Don't think we have anything else we can do, yeah. Rough. And yeah, opponent going after mana in both games is really strong. I think if I knew it was Delver, obviously you don't, and it's hindsight, but I definitely wouldn't keep a one lander against Delver. Yeah, Delver do Delver things, unfortunately. Definitely one of the matchups where the Punishing Fires can come in handy if you are running red to have extra removal in the main deck. But, yeah. Delver do Delver things. On the play, which is nice. One lander. Okay. I'm happy to keep this. And I could bottom a land here. There's a few options. I don't mind bottoming a Wooden Foothills and then going turn 1 bird. Savannah. Swamp. Thoughtseize. Okay. Screws is one of your favorite cards. Screws is a very cool card. I wonder if they take Stoneforge here because it looks like it's going to be maybe Pox again. And Stoneforge is card advantage. Yeah. At least we get to go Screws here and then hold up mana. Smallpox. Interesting. I probably want to let go of the Jide here. The Skyclave just a little bit too good. And then they are going to go after my mana here. But I think the Screws as a threat is just so good that I have to just go after the bird and then sack the Wasteland. And then I think a fetch land is best. Caracas. Fetch land would be sweet because then I could get Dried Arbor. To have open to any sort of sack effect from my opponent. Oof. That would have been really good to be able to cast. Second land. Nothing. Oh, there's the Wooded Foothills. I think I like playing Foothills and holding up that. Because if they do nothing on our turn, we don't have a creature to eat. So if we play Thalia here, they could respond with a sack effect. Like Liliana's Triumph. But yeah, I think getting 2 creatures down is just better. I'd rather get 2 creatures down than try to play around something like instant speed. Sack effects. This also taxes them really hard. It means that any sort of Liliana is off the field, which is nice. And this also puts lethal on the field. But Pox again going to be really interesting. The Veil's good. The Knight can be handy. And the Gaddock Teeg can be handy. I'm going to say the Gaddock Teeg is probably more handy than Collector Oof. Stop saying handy. The Veil's good. The Screws is okay, but not the greatest. It's just a nice way to actually make use of my creatures in the bin. I think Cradle can probably come out. They're going to keep me down on creatures a lot. so Cradle isn't a great card in this matchup. And then it's just going to be a Knight, to be fair. I want to keep my mana curve pretty low, and Ramanap and Tireless Tracker just getting me some advantages of better 3-drops, so I think this is fine. Teeg stops the 4-mana Planeswalker in Lily, and then they also have sometimes cards like Abyss, which can be okay. The one reason that I do like Mum is targeted effects in Planeswalkers like Liliana Last Hope, which can be pretty brutal. And also it's just a creature that I can play pretty cheaply to keep a creature like Knight on the field, which plays around things like Smallpox. So yeah, you never really know what Pox is playing, unfortunately, but hopefully we don't get to that stage. This end is fine. We have 2 ways to interact on turn 1, which is cool, by building out our mana, so even a Thoughtseize can't take too much. Curse Scroll, okay. Hierarch. Wasteland, okay. Innocent Blood, okay. Yeah, this looks like another Pox deck that's pretty normal. But yeah, 2 Pox in the same league is pretty interesting. I don't think I've played against Pox twice in a league. Yeah, Numid, I think that the Yashan is a little bit too late to have an effect on these decks that use a lot of sac effects early on. And if I am green sunning for 4, Questing Beast is usually pretty strong because it applies pressure. It can deal with walkers straight away, is nice. Deal with walkers straight away. Fail. Couldn't do that with a plateau. Haha. Yeah, cool to see Pox out. Sinkhole's fine. The Wasteland wasn't doing too much anyway. I'm probably happy playing the Hierarch here instead of holding up the Veil. Because next turn if I can like Green Suns for Dryad Arbor and then hold up Veil, I'll be pretty happy. Ritual. Liliana, that's pretty good. That's definitely a harder card to beat in this deck. Thoughtseize. Probably just take the Scoos. They take the Veil. Interesting. Maybe they have an answer for the Ooze. Hey Dubs, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. Opponent just doing nothing. They do want to tick up their Lily. No? Did they already tick up Lily? I feel like they missed it. Maybe not. No, they did. Even land Skyclave isn't good enough, which is unfortunate. Yeah, definitely concede to that. I don't think we have any outs to the Liliana. I do like Justice. I think Justice gives us a bit of reach, which is nice. I'm going to take out the Teagues. And go ahead with this. Even though they're playing Dark Ritual, I don't think Deafening Silence is where I want to be either. This is a mulligan. This is a keep. Especially if I can get Cloths on board. I'm probably going to bottom the Qasali Pride Mage. Jide is interesting as well, though. Might be Jide that gets dropped, because having the creature is just a little bit better. Just going to go for Savannah into Hierarch. Opponent we're down to 6 as well. Just hope they don't have like a Dark Ritual into Lily. That would be pretty broken. Yeah, Clot's really effective against Pox, but we do need them to build up their graveyard. The discard definitely helps, and the sack effects definitely help, but I assume they have ways to play around Clot to some regard. Yikes, yeah. Wasteland's pretty good. Lily hit is so strong. I shouldn't 6. I have the swords. I have the swords. No! I have the swords! No! Rough. I don't think we're getting this one anywhere. The turn 1 Lily is just too strong. The Lily into Wasteland is brutal because it takes off 2 mana sources that we really relied on for these 3 drops. Yeah. Alright. Let's run it back. I told the, with my donation deck list, I always do 2 leagues, so I was going to record one, but you guys are here. So let's run it back. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, Tomo Lily's also good against the control decks. Probably not so the combo decks, but really, really nice. Start against a Hierarch start. Hey, Spatula, welcome. What is Rifter, Julian? Rifter was a legacy deck back in the day. Card Lightning Rift. What time is it in Aussie? It is currently 9:27 PM. I'm actually going to quickly see if I can get... Oh, this is a good song. Nice. Late night delivery? Yeah, I want to get an iced latte from the lovely girlfriend and editor of the Green Sun Zenith. What do you guys think about this hand? Green Sun Zenith podcast when? Oh. Oh. Yeah, the font is very cool. I do have to do some make some changes to my stream. I do wanna upgrade the quality of it. I'm gonna keep this. Let's go! Let's go! Haha! Nice. Get psyched. Alright, here we go. Flooded Strand. Ouch. Flooded Strand is gonna be a tough one. Ooh, Volk. Ooh, Ponder. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Apologies. Alright. Canopy. Alright, let's get this Noble Hierarch out. Savannah. Noble. Nice. Wasteland, pretty good. Please don't bolt me. Please don't bolt me. Please don't bolt me. Alright, let's restart. Let's restart. That's fine. That's fine. Clots. Okay. Please no days. Please no days. Please no days. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, this is fair play to my opponent, but this is the worst type of Magic that I hate. I hate it when it's like Wasteland, Bolt, Days, but kudos to my opponent. I'm sure we can find a way back into this. Yeah, Delver be Delver. I mean, it's why it's one of the best decks around, if not the best deck. Oh, is this a Hooting Mandrills? This feels like a Hooting Mandrills. Yikes. Okay. That's a start. Hoot's fine. No blocks. Trample is a thing. Wasteland, okay. Probably taking out the canopy. That's fine. We got ways back. Yes. Please no stifle. Please no stifle. Plateau. Please no spell snare or daze. Brainstorm. Okay. Okay. That's pretty good for us. I wonder if they're playing Forked Bolt. Spell Snare, I think, is one of the most underrated counter spells in Legacy. I think it's very good. If we can get this Knight down as well, it'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 6, which keeps the Hooting Mandrills at bay. They're going to pass here. Okay. Green Suns. Alright. See if Knight sticks. Oh, that's pretty huge. Now there's kind of a free attack with Thalia. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm up in my seat. If we can steal this, that would be pretty huge. I feel like they could still be on some sort of bolt plan. What's this going to be? Brainstorm? What are they trying to do? Dismember? No, Dismember doesn't work. Yeah, what are you trying to do? I feel like maybe they had like a Brazen Borrower and they were trying to bounce, but they didn't have the mana to pay for Thalia, but that doesn't work either. Dig through time? Yeah, it could be dig. Could be dig. Wild in a Cattle? Bryce, I like that. Wild in a Cattle, I believe, is the way that you spell the German Wild in a Cattle. Brainstorm, that's fine. You can brainstorm. German Wild and Cattle strictly wilder, yeah. I think next turn I'm happy just to try to Green Suns 3, 4. If I find a land, I can Green Suns for another night, or just play Ramanap. Delver. Okay, Delver's pretty strong, but now we can actually Green Suns for Scrib Ranger because they're tapped out, which also gives me access to double Mum lands, which is kind of nice. I think that's the play. I mean, worst case is flip Delver, Bolt, Bolt. And at least we can play around that by just getting Green Suns for Scrib Ranger here. I think I can go to 7. Get a Savannah, which means I can attack with Knight here for free. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, because we only have the one Savannah. No, all good, because we can turn the Plateau, thanks to the Knight, into another forest, which would allow us to return it and activate Scrib Ranger's abilities. So we're all good. We're all good. Put on that pressure. Get that pressure going. They're going to block with the Delver. That's interesting. Okay. That is a fine trade. Now we will use Scrib's ability to untap the Knight. Nice. A tough spot for my opponent. The Mum and Scrib Ranger combo is really nice, and to have a 7/7 Knight in game 1 is pretty huge as well. Okay. Oh, okay. Do I want to wasteland my opponent? I don't mind that. I also don't mind just untapping with the mana. But Wasteland is pretty nice, especially with the Ramanap in play. With the Thalia, I'm not too scared of not having the activation of Mum here. I'm also just going to untap here. Foothills, okay. Oh, I know. Let's go Ramanap. See what they do here. They're going to force it. That's fine. Now I guess Stifle is a card. I can't play the Clots. I guess I could have fetched, but I don't want to go to 6. I don't want to be in Bolt range. And I also don't want to play into Stifle. I guess I can Wasteland a Volk. And that takes him off the mana to actually be able to. Yeah, so this is actually all good. They're going to float a red. And bolt me. That's fine. Because now they're down to 0 cards. We play Savannah. And we untap Knight. And now I don't believe my opponent has an out to this. I could have sacked the Knight, but then I don't get the ability to untap it in their turn, unfortunately. Even a second Hooting Mandrills isn't good enough here. That's not good enough either, because we get to give double pro here. Skyclave. That's okay as well. But let's go pro blue. Yeah, pro blue. And then untap with Scrib, and then pro green. Because if I give pro green first, I can't target it with... I guess I can, yeah. Doesn't really matter. It's all good. Good one to get out of. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't mind the Fiery Justices because they deal with every single threat, including Tarmogoyf most of the time. I think we can take out Pride Mage and Oof. They're pretty easy takeouts. Questing Beast is a little bit rough. I do like Pyroblast. Poor Oof never loved. I don't mind going down on a Thalia, but we're already down to 3, so... I'm actually going to take out the Tracker. I think it's just a little bit too fragile for another Pyroblast. And I do like one Choke. Yeah, especially after that Pox game, I was pretty close to quitting in those first couple of turns, but there's always an out. And you definitely can't let previous matches have an effect on your current match. That's a big thing. I think it might just be a Knight to keep my 3-drops down a little bit. I think something like this is okay. There's probably some thought into these 3 at some point, but I think my mana acceleration is still fine. Mums are obviously quite good. Swords is great. Thalia's still good. I actually might go down. I might go something like this. I think in the post board, Thalia can really tax us as well. Yeah, it might even just be Sylvan as well, which isn't that great. Especially on the draw if they start with the Delver start. The only reason that I like Sylvan is that it allows us to extend our hand into the top of the library where you can actually find things like swords or Pyroblast. Yeah, it might just be the extra Del. It might just be the extra Thalia. Especially if they do have some sort of Pyroblast start. And we're already down to 3. We're not playing the full playset, so... I don't mind this. Yeah. I think if it was something like Grixis, there might be a consideration because of cards like Plague Engineer. I might trim on like Mum, Noble, and Thalia, but... Otherwise, it seems pretty good. A lot of answers for Delver, which is really nice. And this hand is fun. I get to go for basics early on, which is cool. Pretty happy to keep a 4-lander against Rug. And a Ponder players first, which is fine. This hand has 2 good answers to any threats, so pretty happy to go for basics early on. I can use Windswept Heath to get a basic Plains, and then the Wooded Foothills to get a basic Forest. Yeah. Let's see what they do as well. They chose to shuffle. That definitely makes me want a Wasteland here, especially seeing we drew the Wasteland. I mean, anyone who Ponder shuffles, I don't care. I'm a very big fan of Wasteland in response to a Ponder shuffle. Yeah, look at this. Like, so good. Now this Mum can't get dazed. We can play the Windswept Heath. I think getting the Mum online is better than playing the Noble Hierarch, but it is close. I think because they're currently siphoned off colored mana, not being able to deal with the Mum is pretty huge. But there is a tight squeeze because if I play Noble and then draw into another Reliquary, that's also quite good. It does extend my hand a little bit, and yeah, my opponent's just gonna sadly fall behind here. I I think I like using most of my mana here and just playing Stoneforge instead of Noble. I'm definitely not in a position where I have to start building up my mana. I'm going to be hitting all my land drops, so I'd rather just get a threat into play, which can go and get Sword. Which also means that next time we can play the Hierarch and just hold up the Sword of Fire and Ice. Yeah, this feels great to do this to Delver. I mean, I've definitely been Wastelanded out, even though I'm usually the Wasteland deck. So it's nice to hit back. They're going to go to discard, so at least if they drew a green source, they could maybe get back into this game with a Hooting Mandrills, but it is going to be pretty tough. Hey, Riddleo, thank you. Pyroblast. That's actually pretty interesting. That actually makes me want to probably not play the Hierarch here and just hold up Pyroblast to stop something like a land into Ponder. But maybe that's overthinking. I think I'm okay with playing the Hierarch here. They did Wasteland Bolt Daze me last game. That's very true, so I think it's fine just to pass here with the Pyroblast up. Interesting. We're in a very good spot. So thankfully, I think that the choice doesn't have too much of a downside. But my thought was, if we could hit the Pyroblast on like a Ponder or Brainstorm, then perhaps we could turn a live draw of Wasteland into taking them off their other color. Now, I could play the Thalia, or I can just play the Hierarch. I'm pretty happy to play the Hierarch and just hold up Pyroblast. I don't have to worry about days, which is nice, but yeah. Unfortunately, opponent just couldn't draw out of it. But that's I mean, if you see someone ponder, always check. Always check what they do, because usually a ponder shuffle means they're looking for lands. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Ooh. I have some honey cashews, which are going to be enjoyed on stream, so apologies for that, but what would you say is a typical Brisbane dish? I'm going to go with a 4 and 20 pie with a Icebreak iced coffee. A typical Brisbane dish, bacon and eggs in the morning is a good one. Maybe a nice roast for dinner with some roast veggies. 4 and 20 is the brand of a pie company that also does like sausage rolls and other baked goods. It is a working man's breakfast. There we go. Star Fox knows what's up. Yeah, bacon and eggs, I would say a good roast with like roast veggies and like potatoes is always nice. Like a beef or roast chicken, fresh from the servo. Oh, only the best, Star Fox. I actually would like to know, when do they get in? If you're a tradie and you're open and you're up between midnight and forever, do they come in early, like 4 AM? Is that when they get put into the hot boxes, or is it like a 6 AM thing, or is it a 2 AM thing? When do the fresh ones come in? Dare Ice Coffee? Okay, Cleo. What are we talking? Are we talking a green one? The espresso? Are we talking black? Is that the double shot? There's also the new blue one, which is, I believe, sugar-free. We then have the... There's one more. There is one more. This hand is okay. I'll keep this. It's got a nice curve. I'll give it that. It's a Farmers Union iced coffee is very nice. I will give you that. But there is one iced coffee that trumps it all, and it's Jacaranda. Jacaranda is a nice, old school, fine iced coffee. Let's see if we can get... Here we go. Woolies knows what's up. There it is. Look at that. The little... What's the point of this zoom when it doesn't actually zoom? Jacaranda is a very nice product. A huge fan of Jacaranda. Oh, we're on the play as well. Okay. I think Plateau into Mum is fine. It's probably the land that I least care about being wastelanded, so... Opponent also wants 6 cards. Jacaranda. That's what the beach a couple of kilometers from our hotel is called. Interesting, Jacaranda is also the name of a popular tree in Australia. I think it's probably... It could be better to... Oh, personal tutor. Doomsday. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Doomsday is a 0% matchup. Another Wasteland is probably like... I think the Wasteland strategy is the only thing to try to do here. Wait, yeah, Doomsday is a pretty awful matchup. I would say it's probably one of the worst matchups for Maverick. And our hand doesn't make it any easier. I think the only way we get this matchup is maybe if we went like turn 1 Noble into turn 2 Thalia and Wasteland. But otherwise it's a tough one. Like they could go land into Ritual. Yeah. And that's unfortunately just going to be it. Yeah, Oof isn't too bad. I will say that. Hushbringer does stop Oracle, which is pretty nice. I know some people have been testing out Hushbringer. Not the greatest card against Uro, unfortunately, because it means they just keep their Uro. If we talked up Oof, they can't win next turn, correct? But maybe, just maybe they can win the following turn, which is pretty tough as well. Morel's Bakery in Burke, New South Wales. Best pies. Okay, shout out to Morel's Bakery. I'm a big pie fan. We have a good one in Queensland, in a place called... Oh, it's gonna kill me. It's on the way. It's out past Ipswich. It's on the way to Wivenhoe Dam. Wivenhoe Dam pies. Fernvale. There we go. Old Fernvale Bakery. Yatla's okay. I think Yatla is there for the experience as well. Their pies are good. But Fernvale is where it's at. Fernvale is a pretty fantastic bakery. It has a lot of awards. I'll see if I can get a photo of the amount of awards they have. Oh, look at that. That just makes me quite hungry for a nice pie. Pie review stream? That'd be pretty good. I could probably get behind a pie review stream at some point. This song is terrible. Okay. Opponent making their pile. Oh, pie, Doomsday. I feel like a Doomsday pie is like a really hot sauce pie, perhaps. Have I ever been to the UK? I spent a year in the UK after school, working in a school in Suffolk. So I have been to the UK. I'm not a big fan of your weather, but I do enjoy the UK. Yeah. Doomsday pie is surely a fish pie. It's surely a fish pie that is not a fresh pie. Oh, NZ has great pies as well. I've never been to NZ yet. But I would like to taste their pies. I'd like to taste their coffee as well. I think Australia has amazing coffee, so that'd be pretty interesting. I didn't bring any drop bears. They were taken by customs, unfortunately. I did check out Germany, Julian. I had a very good night in Berlin. I can't tell you much about it, but I know that I enjoyed myself very, very well. It was pretty tough as well. Berlin was actually one of the last stops of my Top Deck tour. So we had like 35 days in like 18 different countries around Europe, and Berlin was one of the last ones. And one of our mates who was taking all the photos for the trip left his camera in a taxi or something. I think it was a taxi that we got back to the campsite with, and we lost all those photos. He never got his camera back. Really sad, especially on like the last night out of this whole trip. Really sad. Australia is like S tier coffee zone. Oof. Hot take. I remember coming back from Japan and it was basically just Australian standard at best, but like 30% more expensive. Classic. Yeah, Japan was interesting. I do like their boss coffee. I don't mind that as a card, but opponent having a big think about this Doomsday pile. What are we boarding in against Doomsday? Deafening Silence, yes. Probably the Pyroblasts. There's probably just better cards. I don't mind the Chokes. The Veil. Like, I'm assuming they run some sort of hand disruption package, perhaps. I mean, we're definitely taking out the Swords to Plowshares, the Skyclaves, a fair amount of stuff. UK has Shocking Coffee and it's depressing. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. Good coffee is sometimes hard. Maybe Surgical to Shuffle. Yeah. A big think. But yeah, a pie is big in the UK as well. I've definitely seen their old school pies with things like eel, or they put like mash and like things on top. So it's just gonna be blue black. Lotus petal, lotus petal, lotus petal, lotus petal. Oh, we drew the oof, which is interesting. That's what we're talking about. It. Steak and kidney pork pies. Okay, yeah, that's a big one. I think we just go for Savannah because it gives us double white as well. They're gonna force it pitching Ponder. Okay. Interesting. LED in their pie? Haha. Oh, okay. Do we get to Skyclave the LED here? Is that a win? I guess we get to see what happens. Pretty funny if this actually stops their combo. Like if they don't have enough lands to... Yeah! Oh, that feels so good. That feels so good. You never win a game against Doomsday, especially game 1. So to actually have that out... Oh my gosh. Nice. Nice. There we go. My opponent's just like... I think Teeg is irrelevant. I don't think Knight of Autumn is the greatest. How did Doomsday win before Oracle? I believe with Labman and Sensei's Divining Top, I'm going to say. It was the Wasteland? Yeah, the Wasteland was huge, taking them off the blue source. Okay, I'm going to say Swords to Plowshares out, Clots out, Tracker out, Ramanap out. Pride Mage is interesting. I don't mind it for now. Stoneforge Mystic package out. Beast is still good, especially at trying to get damage through after a Doomsday. Mums are fine if they do have some sort of removal spells for creatures like Oof. Ooze is probably not the greatest either. Scribranger are also pretty meh. Maybe Scooze is better than the rest. Might even bring in a Knight over another Reliquary. Yeah, it's... The big question is, what do I want? And I think what I want is Deafening Silence, or at least something like Thalia. I don't think Noble into Collector Oof is good enough. I think I'd rather mulligan this hand and have more interaction. Okay, that's interaction. I'm probably happy bottoming one land and keeping everything and just drawing into a land in my first 3 turns. So bottom the Taiga. Library's probably too slow. Yeah. I think this is a case of just everything being a little bit too slow, unfortunately. Brainstorm's fine. Force it. Okay. Pitching a Daze is pretty huge. Hey, Valakut. Currently up a game, which is nice. Doomsday. Okay. But we are up against Doomsday, so I definitely don't have high hopes. Definitely got lucky in game 1. We were able to Skyclave a LED after they had Doomsday. But yeah, interesting. I wonder why they play the LED if they don't have anything to do with it on that turn. It does open it up to things like Qasali Pride Mage or Knight of Autumn, so... I guess Pyroblast is nice, because you can counter the... Yeah. This is actually pretty interesting. If they don't know about the Pyroblast, maybe we can get in a position where they... I feel like they can just get here. You got it. Maybe the play was to hold up Pyroblast. I am just going to send this back. This is tough. It's really just Deafening Silence here. I don't think that's enough. This is just a 1-lander. I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. This is better. I'll keep this. Bottom the Forest and the Choke. I think Choke is sadly a little bit too slow. I'd probably rather have the Knight. I think we Surgical even just to see if we can bait a Force out, if they do have a Force in hand. There's definitely no downside to using the Surgical. We're most likely, unfortunately, losing either way. Unless we get to Pyroblast, which is interesting. It will be like wait 3 minutes, concede with it on the stack. Yeah, Doomsday is an interesting card. A very cool card to build around. But yeah, Thassa's Oracle has made it pretty good. I would say it's probably the best combo deck in Legacy. I think there's probably more players playing Ant and Test, but I think once you master Doomsday, if you can master Doomsday, then it's by far the combo deck of choice. At least from a Storm perspective. I don't mind not playing. So we mull to 5. So I could act like we kept like a really bad one lander that needed the second land for like a Thalia. I think that's better than anything else. At least here we get to Surgical to see their hand. Just hope they don't have Force. I don't want to look. I don't want to look. They have a Force Negation. Oh, that's fine. Strix Massacre Thassa's Oracle. Okay. This is all okay. Yeah, we can Pyroblast Oracle for the win, which is really nice. How many blue cards did they have? I believe they had Personal Tutor, Baleful Strix, and Force Negation. And they can't Force Negation in their turn, which is nice. Nice. Oh my gosh. That's a feeling and a half. Nice. 0% win rate. Yeah, it is pretty poor. I must have changed my... Yeah, Cavern's really strong. Yeah, Cavern or Unearth there is also pretty good. If you can like predict yourself, put the Thassa's Oracle in the bin, then unearth it into the field, that's pretty cool as another way to kind of play around that. Oof. Nice. Rug Delver, Doomsday. Rug Delver, Doomsday. Yeah, good start to the league. Always nice to start off on a positive note. Whew. I'm just gonna reset my my water bottle, refill it. Sorry, I'll be back in a second. Maverick OP. I don't think I've ever heard that, but I appreciate the belief in the deck. Yeah, Thalia's on the way out. I heard this from Gavin. What I don't understand is, how can you ban Astrolabe, but not ban Birds of Paradise? Pretty much the same thing. Crazy. Does Astrolabe have flying? No. Can you Green Suns for Astrolabe? No. Oh. Nice. A little bit about me. I'm an Australian Legacy streamer. I usually stream twice a week, Thursday nights and Sunday mornings. I've started doing YouTube exclusive content as well, which you can find on my YouTube here. If you're on Twitter, you can find me here, and of course at the Green Sun Zenith, which is a website dedicated to Legacy Maverick. I do have some cool content in the works with Channel Fireball and Arnsey, which will hopefully be out maybe next week, which is pretty cool. It is Maverick related, which is awesome. So that should be pretty fun. But yeah, good times. I know there's some other content creators in this chat as well. It's Julian, obviously from Everyday Eternal, also streams at It's Julian. It's Julian.com, and is a very matured Maverick player. A big fan of green-white. Alright, match 3. If you do a Legacy Safari expedition next year, I would be very keen to do it. Top Gun Maverick? That's funny you ask, Gears, because I do have a uniform I bought very early on that I haven't worn yet. I'm not a big fan of this hand, just a bunch of 3-drops and not even 3 lands, so doesn't really have a plan. This is a lot better. I'll keep this. Probably bottom the Dryad Arbor and just try to go all in on the Stoneforge Mystic. I'm going to lead on Bird just because of Clots being such a good draw, usually. Bird for equip? Yeah, I guess we get to go next turn. We have 2, 3 mana. Oh, okay. What's this going to be? Is it Bolt the Bird? I haven't seen an actual bolt on an actual bird in some time. So let's actually 5 this. Forked Bolt. Oof. Okay. I think you're out as like Wasteland and Noble. Thalia is interesting as well, but I think just playing around Days is pretty nice. I kind of get to as well, which is nice. And also if they spend their turn fetching for a Volk, I'm happy to take them off that. I'd love to see like Wasteland Me pass. Oh, it is Wasteland. And it is Wasteland Me. And it is pass. Haha. Nice. Alright, take this. Ha! Feels like they have the Force. Oh, they don't have the Force. Oof. Okay. If this Knight comes down next turn, it's a 4/4 as well. Delver's not good enough. Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. Can't force that. And you can't bolt it. That's pretty huge as well. Nice. Hey, 10k Freeman. Surely this isn't the actual Ben Freeman. 10k Freeman. 10k Freeman. 10k Freeman sounds familiar. Brainstorm. That's more than fine, especially as a 2-mana spell. If we draw a land, we can play Stoneforge and also play Jide? Green Suns. Okay. 3/4. I guess that gives us I could also turn on Dryad Arbor. No. Ah, from Australia? Very cool. What do I want to do here? I think I just want to Green Suns for Dryad Arbor. Yeah, let's go. Let's do Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, okay. I think my plan was Stoneforge Mystic gets sort of Fire and Ice, and then we can use the 2 mana left over to Green Suns for Dryad Arbor, which we can sack to the Knight to hit the Trop, because they've already missed a land, which is kind of nice, so that's pretty good. Yeah, B4, L4 had it as well. Nice. We did see Trops. This is going to be Rug, so like last time, I do want to over sideboard, but these are definitely sort of maybe cards over here. The 2 easy drops are Pride Mage and Oof. I don't think on the draw we have the luxury of Sylvan Library. Track is a little bit open to removal. I don't mind dropping Questing Beast as well and a Knight. Cradle can come out. Ramanap's good, Klotz is good, the equipment's good. I might drop one Stoneforge Mystic and just do something like this. I could see only one choke on the draw just because of the Delver starts being so fast, but maybe the Cradle's where I need to be to catch back up on the draw. Cradle's always an interesting one because Rug's a deck, especially with Forked Bolt, that can keep you off creatures, so a lot of the time Cradle is most likely tapping for 1, if not 0. But I think there are some turns where you just need it, so I am going to keep it in. And then if we lose this match, we can bring it in. We can bring in the second choke instead of it on the play. I think this is fine. Sionzi. Yikes. Hey Atticus, a huge thank you. I hope my mumbling does help. This is a no-lander. We're definitely mulliganing this, unfortunately. This is actually a pretty good hand. The Mum and the Scrib Ranger can be phenomenal. We also have Green Suns if we want to ramp early on. I'm probably happy to keep this. My only question is, do we want to keep the Foothills for a basic? It does open us up to Stifle, but I don't mind dropping the Savannah and keeping the Plateau. And then Wooded Foothills can go and get Savannah if need be. Maybe Skyclave isn't needed if we have Mum and Ranger, but then we need both to survive turns, so I think it is a land. Drop the Plateau. Yeah, it might actually be drop the Plateau, play the Savannah, play the Mum. Especially because the Plateau can't be saved with Ranger. I think this is fine, especially on the draw. The likelihood of drawing a land is pretty huge, so going back to 3 lands straight away isn't out of the works, out of the ordinary. Sorry, drop Plateau, yeah. There wasn't a Taiga. There is no Taiga. What does the Ponder do? Because if we get a Wasteland here, they chose to not shuffle. Okay. Oh, choke. Okay. Still pretty happy with the Mum, I think. And then next turn, if we get like Wastelanded and Bolted, or Dazed and Wastelanded, we can still just like Wood Foothills, Savannah, Green Suns, Dried Arbor. Interesting if they force this. They're not going to do anything. Okay. Taiga? Tiger. Yeah, definitely interesting. I'm sure there's multiple ways to say it. I'm probably happy here just passing with Scrib Ranger up, because if I can get a Wasteland out of my opponent, I'll be pretty happy. Pretty much the same as Tiger. Yeah, I would say there's Tiger, Taiga, and something else. Alright. Let's see if you resolve. Taiga? 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 Taiga, Tiger. Yeah, Taiga or Tiger. It's like Bayou or Bayou. I think it's Bayou. Play Bayou. I usually say Bayou. 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 Which one is it? Come on, chat. Let's get active. Bayou or Bayou? Ravenous says Bayou. Bayou. Bayou? Bayou. Bayou. Okay. They're gonna daze that. That's fine. Savannah. I don't mind just putting choke down here. Honestly. We don't have any other great plays, and I want to keep the Green Suns for now. They've already used one daze, so... You grew up on the Bayou? Okay. Interesting. I mean, they could brainstorm here to try to find a force, but they're just going to let it slide. Maybe they have like Return to Nature or Brazen Borrower to bounce it. But outside of that, it's going to be a tough card to beat. Deaf Bayou. Mum from Louisiana never heard Bayou. Yes, I like that a lot. I'm going to Wasteland first. 2, 4, 5. Delver's okay. They didn't have a Daze for the Choke, so I assume they won't have a Daze for the Skyclave. Let's fetch first. See if they have, like, Stifle. Nothing. Okay. Let's get Plateau. And then I want to keep the swords for Hooting Mandrills, so I'm probably okay playing the Apparition here, especially since they didn't Daze the Choke. They only had one draw as well, so... Wow. Nice. Alright. Well, definitely a better start to this stream. Yeah, good Skyclave target. Rolled. Have I ever played lands? I have played it. I've borrowed it off a mate just at an FNM. But I would like to do a recorded stream with it, just so there's a little... I can be a little bit more loose with my plays, but it definitely is a deck that interests me, so... yeah, lands is a sweet deck. Especially now with Valakut Exploration and Field of the Dead, having multiple ways to gain some card advantage, build out your board and go wide, and obviously win the game outside of just Marit Lage is really cool. So, yeah, the deck is definitely up there, and I think that a lot of players who... are good with the deck right now, or great, or masters of the deck like Ali, are doing really well with it, which is cool. Yeah, Maverick going strong, which is nice. Rug Delver, Doomsday, Rug Delver. Does Maverick even have bad matchups? It sadly does. Even Delver can be pretty tough, especially on the Delver starts are pretty strong. You're a deck that has to have that Sword to Plowshares in the opening, so... Yeah, Lands has gotten really strong. Exploration is a hell of a card, Life in the Loam is a hell of a card. I really like the red-green versions. I'm not a big fan of the Splash, just because outside of Mox Diamond, you do have a pretty... rough mana base, so trying to add in a third color can be pretty tough, even if Uro is the payoff. I think the green-red just does what you want. A little bit like Blue-White Stoneblade, in that it has a really strong strategy. You just work on that, you make sure that you're achieving that, and you're going to have a good time. Working on building lands in paper? Very cool. Unfortunately, cards like Tabernacle and Mox have obviously gotten a lot more expensive than what they once were, but... yeah, G-Post is a deck that I am currently building as a lender deck, which is nice. Yeah, I would say they're also pretty back and forth. This is a one-lander with 2 creatures, so I am going to keep this. We did get stuffed last time by Delver with a hand like this, but I think it's good just to test the waters. Because the hand is gas otherwise. We have a great hand against combo with Thalia. Swords and Knight are great against the FedEx, and obviously Jade is also just a nice way to turn some of my creatures that aren't threats into others. Okay. 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 Definitely not playing a creature. But something like Wasteland or Port here would be really strong for my opponent. I want to see another mountain or a... Oof. Ancient Tomb. Wow. Wow. Okay. Yep. That's fair. 4 cards. Stink Scourger. Main deck Blood Moon. Interesting. Warren Instigator. They are all great cards. So we want to get a Savannah here. Alright, so we know about these two. Sting Scourge is interesting. I haven't seen Sting Scourger in a fair while. But really want to find the second land here, or it's going to be real tough. Okay. Nice. Now the question is, do I care about playing the Thalia, or should I just build out my mana here? And I think the best answer is that Knight is really good in this matchup, so I should just be going for Knight. So let's go for probably Taiga. I think it's Taiga into double creatures. I think that's okay. Blood Moon incoming. They don't grab the Blood Moon off the Ringleader. That would be at the bottom of their deck. So maybe that is just a thought, though, that I could just go for Forest. Play Bird, play Noble. Yeah, I think this is okay. Yeah, Forest is pretty nice. It also means I can't be hit by... I guess Double Wasteland isn't an issue, which is nice. Chieftain. Okay, they thankfully don't have access to anything else here. Another Knight. I guess they have Sting Scourger, which is really tough. Rough, because they can Sting Scourger and... and Goblin the double strike one. But hopefully this is okay. They are beating down pretty quickly. Sting Scourger first. The question is, do I block the Warren Instigator? Yeah. They only have one card left. It is a 2/2. I think just from a perspective of wanting to save face, it might just be too much here. I mean, even if I block here, I then take 3, 6, 8. I go to 3, and then... yeah, I think I'm just dead either way. We don't have a land, so I can't even do like land and swords as my out. It'll definitely be a Muxus build. Yeah, I can deploy 2 creatures, but just too fast. At least we have some good sideboard cards. I like the Knight of Autumn. I like the Fiery Justice. That's kind of where it stops. I'm pretty keen just to take out the Thalias. Everything else seems okay. We didn't know if they had a Muxus. But I think, yeah, saving the 4 life there wasn't really relevant because we didn't have a way back into it. But if we had like a land, then maybe there was a case. I think this is fine. This is turn 2 Skyclave, which I think is good enough. Turn 2 Skyclave hits both Lackey and Aether Vial. Actually, they're probably not playing the Aether Vial version. I don't believe this deck plays it. I believe it just plays the Chrome Moxes, the Warren Instigators, just ways to get in cheap threats. Yeah, Blood Moon's also an out, so... yeah... not great, but... turn 2 Mystic into turn 3 Fiery Justice, hopefully. Rebel Master's pretty good. I don't want to fetch yet in case I draw a Wooded Foothills. Then I know that I can go for both basics, which is kind of nice. Okay. I can still go for both basics here, which is cool. Forest. Plains. Stoneforge. Probably just getting Jide. It allows me to kind of both gain life and stay in the game and also control some of their threats. This Fiery Justice is looking really solid. I guess I can also hit them for 1. Okay. It's still pretty much a 1-for-1, but it's nice to keep them off all these creatures. And at least next turn, even if they wasteland us, we can come back with some shenanigans. Lackey's okay. Double Lackey's not okay. Swords is nice. So now I get to hold up Savannah. I can hold up Arbor as well, which is nice, but it is open to a little bit more removal. But at least I get the option. I think I'm probably more likely to Swords the Lackey here if possible. Sting Scourger, rough. Can't really play around that. Probably happy to trade an Arbor here if possible. But sadly it's a case of not mattering if they have Muxus. They have nothing. Interesting. Scrib Ranger. Okay. I do like Ancient Tomb. So they only have lands in hand, most likely, so I probably don't actually need to hold up the Wasteland here. I probably just need to play the Knight and hold up Sword. That's probably better. They can play Echo if they want. I assume they won't. They are going to play the Echo. Pay the Echo. Interesting. I wonder why. That is a big commitment. Maybe they just don't have anything else in hand at the moment, obviously, so they don't really care about it. Why are they attacking with this? Ah, okay. They're trying to say that they have the deal 4. That's interesting. Pyrokinesis is the card. I am gonna Swords Sting Scourge here. It doesn't actually matter. The big thing is if I don't draw a land, then it doesn't actually matter. Because the Jide can deal with the Lackey anyway. I mean, double Swords is fantastic, but... They also didn't play a land, which is interesting. I'm actually just going to attack with the Knight here and see what they do. Because then we have Scrib open and also double Sword. Chieftain is okay. I guess I could have swordsed it in pre-combat, so it just wasn't attacking. But this probably is still okay. Maybe they have Pyrokinesis at the moment, and they're trying to figure out if they want to do something about that. Yeah, I think the play was definitely to get rid of this in just the main phase, so I don't have to worry about it. And then, how do I want to block? I get to get Cradle next turn, so I do get to attack with the Scrib Ranger, which is nice. Interesting, they're going to deal with it. Well, that means I don't have to worry about the Lackey, which is nice. So I'm definitely going to Swords the Lord here. I do want to get that off the table. And then this damage is fine. They have no cards in hand, so I might as well just block here to save a damage. Yeah. I don't think we want to change anything. We just want to send this back. Definitely feel a lot worse off without the Black Splash and like Plague Engineer, but Fiery Justice definitely helps. This is an interesting hand because it's obviously quite open to Wasteland, but just, you know, a few lands off the top really helps it, which is nice. Thankfully, I didn't have to block Lackey because there were no cards in my opponent's hand, and it was just attacking for 1. Yeah, I think that the Swords to Plowshares is a bit of a trap here. A little bit like a Leyline hand, where you might see the Leyline and just say, I'll keep this, and then realize your hand just does nothing else, so I'm gonna mulligan. Yeah. Opponent kept 7, which is always pretty scary. Chrome Mox. Chalice for 1. Okay. It's pretty good. Swords is nice, but of course Chalice is pretty good here. City of Traders. Rabble Master. Okay. Should have played the Windswept Heath to get a basic, but I think this is still okay. It's just one of those fast starts that's pretty hard to keep up with. I think the Chalice was just too good here, unfortunately. Not much you can do. Alright. Up against Yama. Tough hand. We'll mulligan this. 1 lander, but it does have the 2 mana dorks, so I think I'll keep this and bottom the Jide. The Jide at least I can find down the line. Prismatic Vista probably means some sort of control deck. Opponent also went down to 6 cards. I'm going to assume some sort of blue-white deck. Huh. I could Green Sun's Fatigue here, but I guess Teague's actually in the board, so I think here I will just play out the Knight. I don't want to commit too much to a deck that I still think is going to be a blue-white deck with like Terminus, so... Ah, apologies. We are definitely 3-1. Thank you, Panda. Okay. This Green Sun's, I think the best target is going to be Clothis in this matchup. This is kind of looking like maybe BANT control. I just didn't want to play the bird because I didn't want to put all my mana on the table for a Terminus to hit. Savannah, interesting. I guess that could still be BANT, yeah. Something like Teferi bounce. Oh, Ranger Captain of Eos, interesting. Walking Blister, okay. Thalia. Probably just want to go for... Scoos? I guess I could just go for Green Suns for Oof. That also works. Doesn't really hit the current hand either. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Ranger in Legacy, so this should be pretty interesting. They're going to attack. That's fine. Please play Uro. I'd love to see that. No. Blister. Okay, this is actually fantastic, because now we can Skyclave it. And just make sure it's off the table. Nice. We get to attack for 3. Seems like a creature deck, so I assume it's not going to be a Terminus deck, which is kind of nice for us. Cradle. Alright, let's start off with drawing a card. Green Suns. Land. Alright. Cradle. Let's play Ooze first. See if they have like Snapcaster Mage. 3, 4, 5. Hardcast Force. Okay. I guess I could have played around that by playing the Thalia first, but all is well. Happy to attack with the Skyclave. They don't get anything back thanks for the Walking Blister being a 0 CMC permanent. Interesting deck so far. Still keeping back the Rangers interesting. Oh, Green Suns, okay. I probably don't mind attacking first. Beastie Boy is interesting. I don't mind Clothis because it just means that my opponent has to find some sort of answer very quickly for it. That's 5 mana. And it's not open to any sort of sweeper effect, which is kind of nice. Tracker is also pretty interesting. Maybe Tracker was the better play. I'm going to keep this land in hand as well. I think it's better with all the mana that I have to be something that's unknown in my hand to my opponent than just being a land with all information. Just another land. Okay, they're gonna hide what they're on. I think I like the... Huh. I don't mind the chokes and the veil. Maybe a blast or two. I'm gonna drop a knight. Yeah. Oof is interesting as it does turn off the combo, I guess. I don't mind going down on a wasteland either. I'm gonna take out the stone forges but keep the equipment. And then go down on one hierarch. Just if they are playing sweepers. Yeah, 3 fairies a big card as well. Tough hand. No green mana, just the turn 1 mum. Okay. Probably happy just dropping Savannah. And then we have turn 2 choke or turn 2 Clothis. I do like the double bird just in case one gets swordsed. I'm gonna drop Savannah and maybe get it with the Windswept. Noble, okay. Dried Arbor, not a great draw. I'm gonna lead on the Noble. Choke looking terrible here, but we'll see. Sylvan Library, that's pretty strong. Qasali Pride Mage, a really nice draw. I should have fetched first. That was a huge misplay because my opponent could now respond by fetching and swordsing the Pride Mage. Let's go for Plateau. I'm just going to deal with this now. Yeah, the Black Splash does come up a fair bit as being more reliable in the majority of games. But so far, so good. The red has been nice. If I was going to build the deck, I would probably be leaning a little bit more on something like Punishing Fire in the main deck. But the blast effects and the cloths have been really nice, so I can't fault anyone there. Ah, it is going to be Food Chain. Interesting. Alright. Hey Captain, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? What do we see? Nothing. Mum. Oh no, I meant to cast Choke. I meant to cast Choke just to take them off that one snow-covered island, but sadly didn't help. I don't think Kloss does enough here, but I mean, if I can bait out another island from my opponent, I'll be pretty happy because then we could even do something like untap, draw Swords to Plowshares, deal with the Noble Hierarch, and then choke them. Ice Fang. Okay. Hey Velox, thanks for the follow as well. Let me know where you're from. What sort of Maverick you play? If you play Maverick in paper. The issue here is as well with the choke being one turn too slow is if they go land pass, they also have just hardcast Force of Will open, which is pretty brutal. So I think it kind of has to be Swords to Plowshares as my draw for me to really be in this game. Four mana. Ballista. Okay. I guess we still get to cast the choke because we can eat their Flattered Strand, which is nice. Oh, Cradle. I don't think Cradle's good enough, but it is interesting. I could go like Bird into Cradle or Mum into Cradle. I don't believe they'll counter it. I think I do have the option of going Bird into Cradle. Bird first. Okay, well the bird survives, so now we can definitely go Mum. Nice, okay. And now we can Cradle into Choke. Yeah, my only thought was if it was too greedy, and maybe there's a situation where they like force the Mum, but it worked out okay. You're from the States, have the cards for pretty much every version of Maverick, but have the experience overall with Delver decks and D&T, trying to learn more about Maverick since I want to start playing it more. Very cool. There's Food Chain. I believe that's just a win because they already have cards exiled. The Walking Ballista's in the bin though, so it will be interesting to see if they actually have an out outside of just casting their creatures. Yeah, it's very true, Skater. I guess it does mean that the choke would be coming down a turn later, but still quite nice. Yeah, I guess without like some of the mainstays like Food Chain or Cradle, there's a lot of cards here that you wouldn't really care about. Caracas, okay. Yeah, I guess they do have a good clock, but we definitely have outs to it. Especially with Kloths in play. Kloths can really soak up some damage. I'm going to assume if you have another Duelist happy for you to show. I'm going to assume they're making white because either they have Walking Ballista in hand or they have a Ranger of Eos to then go and find the Walking Ballista. Cool. It's definitely an easy way to figure it out. I don't want to make my opponent have to go through all of it if they do have it. Just a waste of definitely both of our time. Interesting. Food Chain makes it a little bit different. Fiery Justice is interesting as well. If I do play the chokes, I do want to go after their mana as well in Noble Hierarchs. I didn't know they're playing Nobles, which is interesting. I don't mind some number of Justice. I don't think it's 2, but it could potentially be 1. The extra Wasteland is nice. It might just be some number of Mums. The only creature that I'm really wanting to protect is Collector Oof. And we do have Scrib Ranger to get multiple activations of Mum, which is nice. I do want the Knight of Autumn though. Could just be all mums. Although, Swords to Plowshares is a card, let's be honest. I'm going to drop the Veil. Thanks, Donut. Thanks, guys. Can they win without Ballista? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if they would have another way to win through something like Hydroid Grixis. No, my hands are... There was no... It was just a sneeze. There was nothing else, Julian. But I do like the consideration. This is interesting. Maybe it's even Ooze. Ooze isn't that great. I'm going to drop the Ooze. I think Clotes, in a way, is the Ooze for the matchup because it just pressures really well. This is probably okay. Turn 2 Library into turn 3 Choke or Skyclave. Yeah, they can attack with Mist Hollows, that's very correct. They can also, like, attack, sack them, and then bring them back, like Pseudo Vigilance. I don't want to fetch just yet to see what we draw, because if we draw a Jewel, then I know what I have to fetch for. Pyroblast. Okay. That means I probably just want to fetch for a Tundra here. Oh, sorry, a Taiga. I would say the deck functions better with a Cradle in the deck, but it's by no means... If you have Maverick without a Cradle and you want to play it, I would say it's still a very good deck to play with. There's definitely certain metagames as well where I would just not play a Cradle. So maybe if your local has a lot of like Terminus decks or a lot of decks like Rug Delver that don't allow you to go too wide. But there are definitely versions that I've played with so far that have done pretty well. Without Cradle, which is nice. I think Punishing Maverick or Green-White Red decks are usually the ones that tend to not play Cradle, because your mana is still a little bit rough without those extras. Interesting. I think I want to just pay 8 here. And then I could play the Scrib Ranger and replay the land for Pyroblast. I could also just play Choke here. I don't mind tapping out for Choke. Green Suns for 2 is an option. Yeah, I think Choke is okay. If I can trade it for an island, I'm more than happy. And if it gets forced, it's probably one of the cards that I least care about. So, okay, well, that's nice. Just keeping my opponent off that mana is really nice. It also means something like Back to Basics isn't coming down, which is pretty good. Grafdigger's Cage is more than fine. Another Green Suns. Okay, well, we're not shuffling for a little bit. I guess we could get a shuffle with the Green Suns if we really wanted to, but... Play Scrib. Untap, return Taiga. Play Taiga, pass. And just hold up that Pyroblast. This also means next turn I can go Tracker, which is nice. And then flip the Taiga for Pyroblast. To be fair, I probably could have paid another 4 life just to dig for land. I don't have to be worried about too much, which is kind of nice. Forest. Okay. Yeah, Pyroblast feels really nice. Eternal Scourge. Okay. That's pretty interesting because I can Pyroblast it and destroy it. So Pyroblast says destroy target permanent if it's blue. But if I target this, it's when it gets targeted you have to exile it, so that's pretty interesting. Oh, actually, Scrib Ranger, I can choose to target this if I want. So that's pretty funny as well. So that's actually a better way to deal with the Eternal Scourge. So I'm going to keep the Pyroblast and then just use Scrib Ranger's ability to actually, yeah, deal with the Eternal Scourge. There's a Hierarch. Okay. Put on top, put on top. So let's float. Guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's go for Tracker first. Now we can go untap this, return this. It'll trigger the Eternal Scourge and get rid of it, which is nice. Play this. Trigger the Tracker. Cool. Attack with the Scrib Ranger. And then I probably want to hold up the Pyroblast. I also have the option of playing the Noble Hierarch, which is pretty interesting. There's not too many blue spells that I really care about. Yeah, I think because of the choke, so I think here I'm happy just to play the Hierarch out, which also just gives me access to white mana, which is really nice. Swords. Okay. Yeah, I should have definitely played the Hierarch before combat because the extra damage will probably add up. Noble also gives me access to double white thanks to Scrib Ranger, so it means that Skyclave is online. Jidei's pretty nice. Two, 4, 6 mana this turn. I definitely don't mind taking out the Grafdigger's Cage. So I don't need the second Green Suns. Double white, Skyclave, hold up Pyroblast. Yeah. Put on top. Put on top. Might as well attack first. And then white, float red, untap this, return this. Red, this. Play Skyclave. Play Tego. Play Jit. And now we have both Pyroblast open and Noble Hierarch. Mr. Cradle vs Titan ramp. Yeah, that's a tough one. You'll definitely have instances where you will miss it, but it can be tough as well. There's definitely some turns where, oh, this is interesting. This is probably actually Pyroblast worthy. It does take my opponent off that blue mana as well, so if I can stifle their ability to build out their mana base, I'm more than happy. Or even to find an answer to something like Choke. They're going to force it. Pitching Mistolo. Okay, that makes sense. Sure. So next turn we have 6 mana. If we draw a land, we have 7, which means we could Green Suns for Questing Beast and also equip the Jade, which is pretty nice. Sylvan Library is fine. Especially if we draw a land here. Oof. I guess we can find land here. Okay. Put on top. That's actually pretty interesting. Do I care about this Sylvan Library? Do I want to like Knight of Autumn it? And then Green Suns for Questing Beast the following turn. I don't mind that. Just to really squeeze any sort of outs from my opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knight of Autumn. Trigger. Destroy this. I guess I didn't have to play a land this turn. Yeah, Oof is also pretty strong. I'm going to attack for 3 because if they have Swords to Plowshares, then I at least want to get 1 damage through. If I attack with Exalted, it's kind of the same thing, but at least here I get to get in that extra damage. They also now have a creature to sack to Food Chain. I don't think that's relevant because we have the Swords to Plowshares. I believe Food Chain also looks at converted mana cost. Food Chain. Uro. Uro is pretty strong. Probably happy to... I could Swords it now, or I can just Green Suns for... I guess we took Ooze out, so Cloths is a little bit slow. I think we do just Swords this. I guess that's, yeah, that's pretty true. I don't really care about the Uro if Choke's on the table. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we'll see if they return it. I don't think they will. But that is interesting. Hey Daniel, welcome. They are going to return it. I think in response to this, I'm pretty happy to Swords it, just to get it off the table. They gain some life, but then we have Wasteland for the Caracas. We can then equip the Jade next turn and start swinging in as well. So in a pretty good position to say the least. And there's Oof, okay. What am I doing this turn? We have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I probably just want to put this on top, pay for this. Play Forest. Equip Knight. What if I just Wasteland the Caracas, no Swords? Yeah, it's very true. I could have done that as well. That's a good one. I'm just going to get this off the field. Deal with their Caracas. And then I will play the other Hierarch. Choke really strong this game. Nice. Okay. Put on top. Land. 1, 2, 3, 4. Untap this, return this. Hey Dark Cloud, welcome. 5. Can I get some questing beasts in chat? You have 2 cards left, okay. They exile Ice Fang, interesting. Probably happy to pump here and just get some damage going. And then we know Green Suns is still on top, which is 6, 7. Pretty close. It turns off any fetch lands, which is nice. Alright. Put on top. Put on top. Land. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Untap this, return this. Green Suns again. Nice. Nice. What is this, Magic Online? Come on now. Yeah, script range is really strong, especially in a deck with so many activated abilities. Pretty happy to pump once. And then pump twice. Path, okay. I don't believe they have an out here. Yeah, thankfully. I assume it's just a little bit too much, but we will see. Pyroblast is nice. Put on top. Put on top. Play the Tego. It is more damage if I get the questing beast going, because Exalted is 6, but I don't mind just dealing 5 and attacking with both of these. Swords would be tough. Nice. And I think we just play Oof and pass. Hey, thanks, Shades. All the best. I don't think I even need to play the Collector Oof. I'd rather just hold up the Clue to draw. Yeah, I don't think there's any need. I mean, like, Terminus off the top would be rough, but then we get to just play more creatures out anyway, so... Yeah, thankfully we get there. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, Rick, very true. Thalia does stop Verdict. Nice. Deck was sweet. A huge thank you to Lorenzo for the donation deck list. Obviously, this Punishing Fire version of Maverick does not play Punishing Fire. But, yeah, really cool. I mean, it pretty much played out like a green-white version of Maverick with a small red splash for Clothis, the blast effects, and the Fiery Justice, which felt really strong. Goblins was pretty tough, and that's obviously a matchup where something like Punishing Fire or even Lightning Bolt is good, but I think Punishing Fire a little bit better now with Dreadhorde Arcanist and Oko, etc. out of the format. There's no real need for it, and the recursive, removal in Punishing Fire for Maverick is really strong. Also a good card for the Pox matchup, which we played twice in the first league. But But yeah, overall, this was a sweet deck to play. I'm a huge fan of Punishing Maverick. I think it's quietly one of the strongest versions of Maverick. There's just not enough people playing it. But yeah, always a pleasure to play. Yeah, really fun couple of leagues. But that is going to be me. It is getting a bit late. I have work tomorrow. But I hope you all enjoyed this. This is pretty fun. The, I guess, changes, if there were any, is just trying to fit in perhaps the Punishing Fire combo somewhere. The issue with that is that it does hit the mana base a little bit because you are putting in more the groves, which can't be fetched. You do have to rely on your fetches for white mana, of course, so that's pretty tough. But I think, yeah, I think with Punishing Mav, it's definitely worth playing the removal. But the advantage of this build is that the consistency of the mana base is really nice. The ability to just fetch for a red splash when you really need it is kind of cool. So that was pretty awesome. You guys are welcome. Hey Jack, apologies, but we are out of here. I'm gonna quickly see who else is streaming and see if I can send you guys over somewhere. But if you do like this content, definitely follow me. You can also find me on YouTube, which you can sub to me there. I usually upload 3 times a week, 2 streams and 1 recorded league only for YouTube. So if you do want that content, you will have to be a sub. I apologize, but it is free. So there's my Twitch handle. Here is my Green Sun Zenith website. You can find me there. True Hero is playing Legacy. Mopanda's playing Legacy. We usually go over to True Hero, so... oh, they're actually playing a sweet deck with Tamiyo Field, the 4-mana one, which is pretty sweet, so... I hope you guys enjoy that. All the best. Enjoy your weeks ahead. Stay safe. Be kind. And I will see you on... Oh, this Saturday, I'm doing a Legacy challenge. I'm doing my first ever Legacy challenge and I'm streaming it. So thanks, Jack, for that. That'll be from, I believe, 9 or 10 p.m. on Saturday night in Australia. So that should be pretty interesting. So definitely, yeah, I'll see you for that one. Tamiyo Field Researcher, execute. Thank you very much. All right. Enjoy, guys. See you next time.